Okay, I'm also recording this too for the night. All right, let's get into Bitcoin and see what's happening. There's a little action going on right now, and we're teeter-tottering. If you've noticed, they're playing games, right? It's like, and if you're a trader, you're like, you're kind of you want to gain, you want to, and look, we break above the 200, we got to pump. Come back down, we break above the 200, we got the pump. Come back down, and now we're like teetering on breaking it. We kind of shoulder ahead and a right shoulder. Look pretty bearish. We had a double top, looked pretty bearish, but for some reason, we're just hanging on. Right, we're just hanging on here like 6, 7 hours now, right on the 200 MA. So we're gonna kind of break down the best we can, see what's going on. And we did get the today. Remember, I said the probability is short. We did get the drop down. Wasn't amazing, but we did if you looked at the smaller time frame. And then we recovered back up, and it's just been kind of pretty much a sideways day since then, right? And that's what happens, right? 2 o'clock on Thursday. I tell you, look right there. This is 11. That's 12. That's 1. That's 2 o'clock. There's one more move, 14. And then look, after 14:00 Army time, look what happens. And you can just see flat, right? Right after 2 o'clock. I don't know what it is. 2 o'clock on Tuesday. Just they shut the algorithm down. They walk whatever it is. That's when the big, every once in a while Bitcoin has a weird move off, but um, so yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so I'm not in the trade right now because like you can see my signal was yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, right? And then now it's yes. And like, that's a lot of ping pong. And once I do one or two ping pongs, because like you'll hit it here, you'll hit it there, right? Slight little hit. And then once it gets more ping pongy, I know it's like I just lay off. I know we're in chop, right? And it's less likely you're going to hit. You can still attempt to swing like the smaller time frames at this point. And the 1 minute broke the 200, but that was you would have had to grab it right there. But that still was still if you were really diligent and you watched this closely, the second that candle closed, you may have had a chance to get in this as it started to run, but it looked like it was pretty fast. You might have had to front run it or close it right, or you might have had to buy when it came above it, which is like can sometimes burn you, right? Like this one, and this one. Who would have thought that would have been the one? So you can see as today is like it's just been a catch 20. It's been tougher. It's more they've even chopped the line on the 1 minute. They've stayed around it. So whenever you stay closer to the line on the 1 minute, it lets me know there's a bigger move coming because it's like when you wind up a wind up toy, right? It's like you're getting really tight, 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 tight. Like when you start getting tight, it's telling me something's going on, right? So like even if you knew nothing about indicators, that's why like you'll start to breathe price action, right? You'll start to live it. And like you don't just, it's not even just, I don't even have to know stochastic. I don't even know any of that. I can just see price action just starting to coil up. You'll start to get in tune with price action. You'll see it so much. It'll either run, and if you think about it, most price action is waiting for the bigger move, right? Then you capture that move and then you wait again. Capture that move and you wait again. We do it on a smaller time frame, but it's the same thing you're doing on the bigger time frames, right? You're waiting for the weekly to get above the 200. Like, look how amazing this is. I love doing stuff like this, but like we duplicate this. And I remember when I first really started putting this together, like that's when I knew I had like a bit of an edge. It's like, okay, you know. And yes, it seems so simple, but if it's hard to live by, even though it seems simple things aren't easy to trust. We all want to trust in more complex things. Like a lot, if you ever go talk to an older person and they'll be like, I came back to the like after all the stuff, like they come back to simple, like the simple, like they say the simple is genius. And some of the richest people in the world aren't people that invented things. They're people that just changed something that was already invented slightly or just tweaked it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like the first guy to put wheels on a suitcase. He didn't make the suitcase, but he made the first one to move, right? You know, and that's like, think about it. The first guy made a suitcase. He didn't probably think about the wheels, but then one guy was like, dude, these things should be rolling, you know? And everyone had, I don't know about you guys, but I had a big suitcase like for my grandma who was dead, right? But like, and so I was born in 1983. So that suitcase had been in the attic. It was probably since the 60s, and it was one of those, like, they had these like big clips, like they kind of opened up and they had like, almost like draperies in them. Like they had like, you know, they were, it's crazy. A lot of detail, a lot of clipping, heavy as heck. Um, Everything was bulkier then, made better, but bulkier, right? And just what do you people know? You guys are a bunch of young whippersnappers, David, 22-year-old. So anyway, so see how we got above the 200 SMA and we boomed out right here on the weekly. And like I just kept that's the same move. We just see how you got above and you boom out on the 1 minute. The same thing. It's the same. Like if you zoom in and look at this and you looked at them together, like, you know, the move is derived from that move, like the knowledge I took from both time frames, you know. And so one day I was like trading the 1 minute over and over again, and that worked. It worked. And then one day I saw the weekly get above, and I was like, "You meaning if I can just buy this candle right now?" Like everyone else has like 1,000 indicators, and like they use like, you know, the Bollinger Bands, and you know the hash ribbons, and you know this the this one A and that one B, and like all this like money flow and VWAP and support over like, and you can literally just like I've literally found an end game. It's kind of sad because like I don't think it gets really better than this. And again, it's not 100% foolproof every single time, but I'm trying to tell you, like for me, it pretty much is because this is where I like literally buried my net worth in here. No, seeing even front running this, and then once we got above it, I just knew like, wow, we're above the 200 now. Like now, if we ever went below this fund, I would probably get pretty. That's when I would be like, dang, maybe I need to like reassess. Like, how long is Bitcoin going to go down there? Um, but as long as we stay above the 200 MA on the weekly, and so once that weekly candle closed, right there, boom, you could put your whole net worth in there and sit pretty. Just watch it expand. And so years of me was just doing these, first it was you see me doing it on leverage trading, right? Once I knew with the 5 grand I had, I could turn it into 7 and 8. And once I knew that, like, once it's diligent and it's hardcore discipline and you have to stay on it and you can't take trades you're not supposed to take. That's the problem with leverage trading. Like, you take 3 or 4 trades you're not supposed to take, you'll get spanked for the good ones that you did. You have to like always kind of reset, and really, if you can stick to the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday runs late at night and stay away from the market, like on like really Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, you're gonna most likely, at least till you get you're gonna have a better run. I'm telling you, like it's hard to do. I tell me because I want to trade every day of the week. It's tough, um, even for me. And so, but I found that in the long run, it can pay off, especially if you're a beginner and you want to just see more wins than losses over time. But literally, so I had done this, you know, last cycle multiple times. Anytime, first of all, I did the run up to the 200 SMA. If you know me, the first thing we do is all coins are dumping. Like I'll show you a coin. Like I think like Apollo was one that we played. Whatever it can be anyone. I'm trying to think of a good one. Phantom's fun. Any old coin really that went through the cycle of the bear market, right? And you go to the daily, and what you'll see is the first thing you'll see is you'll dump to a bottom, right? And I'm pretty good at finding bottoms. Why? Because my strategy is you can see my strategy right here, right? This is another one of my like this is my image that I go for, right? And remember, say the market was pumping, and I said, remember when the white line's away from the yellow line, we have bearish divergence, we make a rising wedge, right? The stochastics will be high, the MACD will be high. That will be bearish divergence. The RSI will have a lower low, right? That's when you get out. That's when you're high. You have a double top. It's time to get out, right? The trade is over. But see, it's so hard. It's so easy for people to realize where the top is for some reason because it's easy for people to feel pain, like But it's so hard for people to see the bottom, you know. And for years, I saw all this stuff to the point of no return. Everyone, I've like replayed this stuff Think of all the altcoins I've gone through in a bear market, in a bull market, back to a bear market, back to a bull. Now I've done it twice. I've watched the market go up, come into a bear, go up, come into a bear, come up, and now this pullback, right? So I now can I've watched thousands of assets and exactly how they act as they go up and down. And then I compared it to the stock market and said, oh, they all do the same process. Like it's the same, the stock market cycle isn't the same. They're not timed the same, but you'll watch. So I've noticed when the moving averages get tight, right? And you'll see me. I literally had, we can actually go back. This is interesting. I'll see. I'll dig it out. But I literally had a list, right? And the list was called um, bunched up daily 200 SMA pumping and waiting, right? This was in the bear market. Like this was like a year ago, right? And we were still like, while other trading groups were like, and you could see like anytime there was tight moving averages, like this one was supposed to pump up to the 200, like it was super tight. And I knew over Matt once it broke. And look, once it broke the 200, it ripped. Even had this little flag if we bounced off the 618, and that thing. So every one of these had like at one point, probably lower now because things were crazy, but like here, so the moving averages got tight, and I knew we were going to pump up to the 200 SMA. Once we did, we were gone. So what I started doing is just like watching altcoin season, right? DCAing in coins that I really wanted to hold on the long term when they were below, and then any coin I wanted to swing trade, like just waiting for it to get above and throwing like 10 to 15 grand on it when the market was ripe, you know, and then boom, 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 making 10, 15K off a coin. And couple months, might take a month, might take a few weeks. Sometimes I even just took this one here, just boom, 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 got out. And then, and then I just went down the line and I would just keep looking for coins that tight moving averages. I know you're going to pump to your 200. Just give me that money. Like when the moving averages got tight, you're going to, and it's going to be this fat. I don't know why. This is the algorithm they programmed, whatever it is. I don't know why. And every single coin will do this over time. Bitcoin, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm telling you, this is insane. Like I've uncovered like so see how the moving average were tight? Boom, we'll blast to the 200. Now, fine, we might struggle and go below it a little bit, but over time, look, and you're going to get tight again. You're going to, and then you're gone. Like, so literally say you just buy things, you know, you understand the market. Like the Bitcoin might not have been in a perfect place here. Bitcoin had bottom. Like you watch Bitcoin like me. And then on top of that, you wait for things to get above their 200s. And like, that's basically the safe zone. Like, and then if they break them, you can always just jump out of the market, right? Because the market might go down on you again. And then if it comes back up, get back in the market. It's a great way. Like, so I watched it over and over again. And so what I do as a person is I like to progress. I think we all should, right? And I progress in trades, and what progressing in trading means is the trades get bigger, period, And honestly, I dreamed of big trades like 10 years ago. I dreamed of like, oh, I can't wait till I'm a millionaire. And like, I'll buy $100,000 or something. Like, and I thought that was like, I was like, I wonder how that will be like one day. Like, and I laughed. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, you think, I remember when all my coin, I had $1,000 when I was in 2017, my positions, we're talking, I can't believe it was 7 years ago, but like, my positions were lucky if I could get $1,000 in a coin, $1,500, I also was like dominantly into Bitcoin too. So it was hard for me to like get my Bitcoin obsession away to buy altcoins. Thank God they had BTC pairs where you had to buy Bitcoin to buy the pairs. But my first alt season had no tether, if you can believe that. So someone gives you 10 grand or you get 10 grand, you buy Bitcoin. Then you start buying all these altcoins with it. You're attached to Bitcoin at that point. You have no way out unless you go back and cash out. So like once you're in, you're in. It's kind of crazy, right? The only great thing about it was if you get in when I did a Bitcoin at like 1,000 or 3,000 and you're swinging altcoins 5 to 10x, and you don't even really take them out. You just stay in them, but they're valued in Bitcoin. So your whole portfolio says how many Bitcoins you have. And you start with like one, and then it says you have like eight because the altcoins go up so much. And then Bitcoin went from like, 3,000 to 18,000. And I was just sitting there like, how did this like my 20 grand I think my 20 grand turned into like, it must have been almost $360,000. And I'm sitting there like, what, like, what, like, and I was like, at one point I was just playing, I was using a laptop, staying in this little cabin near my mom's house because our families had both grown so big. And luckily this lady literally like a field, I didn't even have to park near, like I could park at my mom's house and even walk through a field. And this lady had another property near us and she rented a little And I always remember that November 2017. And I can't believe it because the rip starts happening Thanksgiving. So like I go home to see my family and like I'm talking your portfolio is doubling every 10 to 8 hours, like for like days on end. You know what I mean? Like you start with 8 grand, you look at it again, it's like 16. Like you go to sleep, like when you wake up the next morning, it's like 21. Like everything's green. And like every time you look at stuff, they're like pumping, and you're like, what's going on? Like, what is this? And like the next day, it's like doing it again and again. And like after a while, like you think it's never gonna end because you don't, it's been 2, 3 weeks straight. And you're just like, what? Like you get accustomed to it, and then eventually, right, there is the pullback, and you're like, whoa, no, what do I do now? Like my sad story is I ended up limping out of that 360 with about 80 grand. You know what I mean? More than I had, but like, I mean, and luckily because of there was no tether, it was all like it was all left in BTC, right? Like I just ended up just like whatever I did panic sell or however I took profits, it ended up just kind of right. And so then it just that's kind of like, and then the kind of it goes from there. So, but those cycles are tough, man, and they're not easy. And um, yeah, I've battled so many. And so I started just watching this 200 and the yellow, right? And then so I had my little boy pants on, right? And I was trading the 1 hour, right? And then I got my, my mid boy pants on. I trade the 4 hour. And then I got my big boy pants on. And one day I looked at the weekly and I looked at Bitcoin and I said, it's time. Like it's time to make a like, and that's when I like, I piled in a lot of, money here. And, hopefully it'll pan out. So far it has. We'll see where we go in time, right? I'll count my chickens before they fully hatch. But I mean, even if I ended up just getting out or speculating and for the rest of my life on other assets, this will be a way I'm going to do it. I'm going to be using the weekly and you know what I mean? And I'm going to be putting 250, 300, like, and I trust I've back tested this so much in my life that like when I do it with, it's like I'm in battle and I'm swinging like that. It's like it has to cut through the enemy there. Like, you know, and again, I guess I can't guarantee I'm going to win everything, but I'm telling you, like, if you just go by, like, it's a, and even though I knew this for years, it was hard to do. So I'm going to talk to you guys through this and you're going to learn it. But like, look, Solana, like the second Solana broke the daily, you pile in with like everything you own. You know what I mean? Because you know that's when the beginning of everything that ever happened to any asset in the world. Every big pump that ever happened. Well, look at Amazon stock, right? It's a great stock that's had some amazing pumps in its lifetime, right? I don't look at it enough. But let's take a look at all the massive pumps that Amazon has ever had. And it's really just almost been on a never ending pump, really, if you know, but if it had any type of bear market, if you just piled in once it got above the daily right there, like you would have got in 341 and you would have been a ride at Amazon. Like this doesn't change. Like this is for this. Like I'm teaching you how to trade. If you get any real estate chart and the real estate market slips below the 200 daily, like it's probably likely time to wait a little bit. Prices are going to come down. Like you could chart this stuff is you could put this on anything and have a high probability of where things are going to go. It seems so simple. It's weird. Like again, like here you make fun. Here you got to know patterns a little bit. So you'll play with the daily, but once you see the daily's making this pattern, then the pattern. So patterns come into play. It's not always the moving average. Like that's why I use everything I use comes into play, right? And what is the worst when the bearish times when we finally get 2 or 3 candles below it, and then look, I mean, then we got a bearish retest, another bearish retest. You don't hang out above it. You got it. Like I would be here and I'd be like, well, we're in a bearish market unless we can get, and once you get one, I said, we need a few more candles to close to confirm a bull market. Rejection, I'd be like, oh, we're still bearish. You're in a bear market in any asset as long as you're below the daily 200 MA. That's when you begin what could be horrendous bearishness. It could just be one of these moments here where you're consolidating, that's what we're looking for Bitcoin. We want to see one of these right now. You know, it's either one of the greatest times to accumulate, or it's the beginning of some lower lows that it's definitely the beginning. It's definitely the beginning time to buy though. Like you're not buying the highs anymore. You're definitely starting to buy the lows again when you're buying below the daily because usually has to take some time. Well, look here. Had you bought Amazon on May 23rd, May 8th of this year, just 2 or 3 months ago, right when it broke to 200 on the daily for $110, you would have basically almost doubled your money by now, right? Just dang, right? Exactly. Yeah, look at that. Oh no, I'm sorry. Over a May in 23. So in a year and a half, but still, I mean, that's the stock market. It's not the crypto, but I mean, that's almost 90% gains. And all you had to do was know how to use the daily 200 MA. And we could flip to the 3 day. I like the 3 day because the 3 day is a little stronger if you want to play, but you'll get in later. You'll get in way later at 136, but the signal will be a lot stronger that you're not going to lose. You see? The daily will just add a little risk, right? Just like the 4 hour. If you start playing the 4 hour, there's a good chance you nail it too. Like here, you would have traded the 4 hour. The 4 hour will give you almost one of the lows, or here, one of the lowest prices, 95, 96. But it will dip sometimes and throw you off. So, like, and you got to be able to stay the course there. That could have ended up being one of the bigger pullbacks. You don't know. The only thing about playing my system this way is you don't know. You almost have to believe that anytime you go below it, it could be the bigger move. All right. So it's almost better to protect the position here. Like here, you might want to sell there because it could have gotten worse. Then if it gets back in, then you can get back in. Now, if you're depending on to hold it long term, who cares? Use the weekly and let it ride. Wait for the weekly to break above. Look, and honestly, this is unreal because like the weekly here, look, the second Amazon lost the weekly, it was only a little bit right there. And the second it broke, look, it never lost it again. So if you were holding this, you would be like, I'm good. Like as long as you were here, you'd be like, as long as I stay above this yellow line, like, and that would have been the time to take your position off the table. So like if you had gotten in here in 09, the market would have said, okay, it would have been this would have been great. And maybe you just would have done it out of euphoria because the moving averages got far apart. There would have been some divergence, like I teach you. So my system would have started to tell you you're extended the 21s away from the 200, right? And how did Bitcoin get too high? This is great because you're going to see how Bitcoin and Amazon had the exact same top, right? But the 21 will get away from the 200. You'll get a bearish divergence. You see, even here, like on this dump, you have like this kind of rising wedge. You even have a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. It's in the moving averages get super far apart. 21 gets pulled. So price will pump, pump, pump. And the 21 will just start to get so far away. And to me, that's just obvious that it's time to take some profits out of anything you're in for the rest of your life. Amazon, the 21 gets pulled away. If you use my system, you're going to be able to trade small time frames, large time frames, scalp, swing, right? At the end of the day, all of us want to be able to put 100 grand down right here and come back in a year and a half to 200 grand, right? Isn't that like, I feel like that's like, that's where I want that, you know what I mean? And maybe more too, in crypto, I want to come back to 3, 4, 500 grand, but that's where I want to be. I don't want to be staring at, I love to leverage trade and don't get me wrong. Like you guys, I'm not going to stop soon. I'll do my thing, but like, you know, when I'm 50 years old, like I don't want to stare at the screens too long, right? I'm going to be looking at the weeklies, the 2 weeks. I'm going to be plopping things down for 4 to 5 years. And hopefully I'll have enough positions like every year or two, you're taking something out that's been in for a long period of time. And then if you see a shift in the bigger market, maybe you take things out and, whatever it is. But, um, you know, now you see Soul, it is the 21 is starting to get a little far away on the weekly, but it's just beginning. It's like it's structure. So it doesn't really have enough to show you that but if you look at the 3 day, it's like, okay, see here, what you want to see is you have two possibilities, right? A dagger move down to meet the 200. And then it looks like it would make like a complex inverted head and shoulder, right? And it'll make some type of V-shaped recovery. Sol is too hot. The ETF will come out if it ever dipped, and that would be some black swan dip, and that would be it, right? If the 3 day lost the 200, it would be really like. But it's could if it just breaks out here and does its thing, and then it's which is a chance it just does a beautiful double bottom right there, and likely it goes a little more sideways, pulls the 200 up when these get tight, and then you're going to get an explosive move. Right. And what will happen is, and I know, the 21 will get too far away from the 200 at one point, somewhere between the 300 and the 400 range, because you can see like, same kind of story here. Like we got together and then boom, explosive move. Right. Now, maybe it's even more explosive. Maybe it's somewhere up in here. I'm hoping it's in the 500 to 600 range, but you will start to see it. You'll notice it. The moving averages will get stressed. All right. And you'll start to, like right now, this is a very bullish sign. Whenever I see the moving averages get very close together like that, it's especially after consolidation and you didn't get like a downward sell off, you got more of a sideways sell off. Now it is kind of like a descending triangle. Like it's not the most amazing pattern. If I cut off some of the wicks, it's a little better, I guess. But you know, the key is like, I mean, that's usually a beautiful buy zone right there. Previous support and resistance. At least it's a place where if I was into a project, I would be DCAing. I don't DCA when I'm far. Look, when Solana was in stress, both times the 21 was far away from the 200 and curving. This is what I teach in the beginner's course. Like we go over this in depth and we show it. I'm kind of basically taking a piece of the beginner's course right now and just kind of reiterating a little bit for anyone who's here. So um, but yeah, because like anyway. So whenever I see, so again, back to tight, and that's why tight moving averages are so important on a big time frame because you don't get them. You know, like you're only going to be able to utilize what I'm teaching you like really perfectly, like 4 or 5 times in the next few years on these dailies. You see, like you're gonna have to wait for a nasty bear market again, and like see the next time you get into a nasty bear market, you're not gonna feel downward emotion and pain and all. You're gonna hear me. Oh yeah, I accumulate on the tight moving averages. Oh yeah, once we get above the daily, we'll recover. And you're gonna do your research and have to like the project and believe it can. If oh yeah, this thing will be here in a few years from now, and if that's what you believe, then you slap that TA on it, and the TA is gonna show you where to go. You could also use this to scalp on the smaller time frames, and you can and again, a lot of other people will tell you, oh, the simple moving averages are slow. They're not understanding how we're using them, right? No one explained this to me. Like a mentor never. This is from just watching the charts over and over again. And eventually your mind will mess. If your brain, our brains like to make sense of things. That's how the human race works. You put us in we make maps, right? You put us in a forest. Somehow we have a map of the forest. Like we like to make systems of things and organize them and pattern. And so you just keep feeding the brain and you keep it healthy and you work out, it'll start to organize things for you. Like it should work in your favor. And that's another thing I really talk about is, and I try to do it without freaking people out because some people, when I talk about it, I think they get a little like, they think I'm trying to guru them or something, but I'm trying to get them to guru themselves, honestly. Like, and it's your subconscious mind, like, that's why you work out. That's why you drink the lemon water. That's why you don't drink soda. Like, there's no soda in my house, but like someone was staying with us recently and they would buy like a Coke everyone, and I would open my fridge and I would just see like a Coca-Cola and it would just be like, what is that? Like it would be like such a foreign entity in my home, I was like, it was just, I'm like, what is that? Like, but and your subconscious mind will work for you, but you got to feed it what you want. This worries me a little bit or concerns me a little bit because it does look more like a descending triangle, which, we all knowing well it could down, but like really to 41, 42. Sometimes when I see an unrealistic measured move, it will cancel out the idea that that pattern really is going to play out. Like sometimes I've done this and it said -10 one time, and I was like, I mean, that the stock can't go to -10. Um, but we'll see. Hopefully it's more of a look. It's a double bottom, double bottom. And again, all about that daily. If that daily gets a nice move above the 200, and then we get back above 154, that's going to be support. And then we could, and then everyone will be like, oh yeah, like why didn't I just play the double bottom? I saw it. It was so simple. It's simple, but you have to have guts to make the call, right? And you only make the call after years and years of seeing it. That's how you build up guts to make calls like that. You don't wake up being able to put 100 grand in Solana at a certain, you know what I mean? It comes from years of watching the market, and eventually you build up this stress test data set that you just feel is so powerful that you don't stress getting in with a large amount of money anymore. You're convinced that your years of doing it have played out and you've gotten through. So you continue to do so, right? And that's like, um, and so what I see is we're getting, so that's what happens is moving averages get tight and yarn up and they slowly expand. And then when they get too expansive, they have to come back together. They get tight, they yarn up, and then they get ready for their next expansion. To me, I'm seeing Solana getting ready. And again, it could lose its daily and start to dump and come down. And I could be wrong, right? There's, we have support and resistance will come into play. But if we are going to pump, this is how it would happen. The moving averages would start to get tight again, right? They wouldn't just be all over the place. Like they would have to come together. Go look at any asset on the daily before it made a move. I don't care what it is. Like, I want to look at something like I've never traded in my life. Let's see, like, what's like um, is Michelin tires, right? I've never, Michelin, right? I don't know. It's like, I'm probably not even spelling it right, but let's do on GM, General Motors, right? I don't think I've looked at the stock ever. Look, the daily got above the 200. You bought General Motors on December of 2023. Look, you're in the money now. Look how simple that was. Like, and it was like and it made a little bit of a flag. And I bet if you looked at it the other way, it had low stochastics too, right? They did. The stochastics were low. And I bet if you flip to the 3 day, the stochastics were low on that buy zone. They were a little high there. It gave you the exact bottom though. Again, that daily gave you the entry though. Had you waited for the 3 day, you would have gotten a lot later. But like I said, there's a higher probability you're definitely not going below it. So you can just play, maybe you put in $1 million here, but in the daily you put in 300 grand. Like you put just make it way bigger this time. And imagine getting in for $1 million at 39 and selling at 49, just making a quick 300 grand from March 24th to July, right? That's just March, April, May, and June, right? Making a nice 300 grand. You could pay 100 grand in taxes on that, and that's 200,000 right there. That beats real estate. That beats a lot of returns on $1 million, right? So, and again, it's just knowing how to buy when you get above a 200 MA. Same thing here. When GM began its new move, it got above the 200 MA on the 3 day chart. Every big move, I'm telling you, and look, every big move starts when they get tight again. The moving averages have to come back together and you get happy and tight, and then boom. When the other ones get tight and they're away from the 21, they pump up to it. The same as when they get tight and they're away from it, they dump down to it. This pump up and this dump down is the same as this pump up and this dump down. I'm just flipping the chart upside down. Shorting is longing and longing is shorting. Up here, you would have had a bearish div. Down here, you'll have a bullish div. They're exactly the same. They're the opposite of each other. We live in some type of flip-floppy universe. Okay? You can trade any market in the world with what I'm teaching you right now. Any market in the world. You can scalp yen. Let's look at the Japanese yen to the US dollar. Right? What my system will get you in is you'll be able to trade anything. Then you'll have ADHD you have to freaking calm down because you have to really pick with what stick with something that you really want to trade because you'll be able to trade whatever you want. Look, when the yen lost the 3 day, that told you to begin a short. Simple, right? Just like it told you to begin a long on GM. There's no difference here. I don't see anyone teaching it this way. I'm telling you, like, I almost like want to keep it on the low because it's so amazing. I don't want the whole world to know this. I only want like if everyone knew it, they won't they'll have something will change. They won't let it happen. It takes guts as good as it is to look back. It does take guts. But like if you start demo trading with the smaller time frames, that's how you begin to trust this. Okay, you get to know this and then you begin to marry it on bigger time frames. Okay, and so like we teach you skills here. Like we have the leverage mastery class to really fine tune that. What that really does is fine tune how you know yourself through emotional behavior. That's really what leverage mastery is for. It's a way to speed yourself up to where I've been for using money. I've been playing with money for 15 years now. Like you can only imagine how my insides have been twisted and turned out. Like how many nights you think I was out with family and I was like, just, I had over $500,000 in the market. I told you back in 2017, I went from 300 grand down to 80. That was 7 years ago. Yeah. Imagine how many roller coaster rides I've been on since then. And I had been on rides in the stock market before that. I had 7 years of investing in the market with Canopy Grow Corp and all these, the Toronto Stock Exchange, Grand Paper Limited, all the stuff I did with the silver and the gold that got me into trading. So, man, like when I see people in the market, like, oh, they'll say something, I won't say anything sometimes but to myself, I'm like, you only imagine if like and I'm not trying to, it may sound somewhat boastful, but in my mind, like the pain that I went through trading, I believe 8 out of 10 people would have turned away. I don't know if they would have kept going. Like you would have, I mean, and hopefully they would have. And anyone who did, I guess you would get rewarded. And it lets me know that whoever keeps pushing in life, you get that button, somehow you get it. I don't know how. My dad used to say this to me. I didn't believe him because he would just, he was telling me to keep faith in the universe, faith in and that true desire of where you were going. And when you're young and your dad tells you that, you're like, oh, my dad's just telling me that because he's my dad. And it is like, what else should he tell you? I mean, he can't tell you you suck, right? He's got to tell you to believe in yourself and go for it. But he also said, he's like, you're a smart kid. You see the details. I know it. Like, I've been around the world. I can tell when, you're sharp, Sam. Like, have faith in yourself. I remember when I was investing and I lost some money and I called my dad and I was really depressed. I lost 15 grand of 40,000. I was like, I wanted to give up. And I thought he was going to call me and tell me like, yeah, like I thought he was going to I don't know what he was going to say, and I was really embarrassed. And I didn't even have to tell him. I just one day I was like, I lost some money in the markets. And he was like, and he told me about when he lost money and told me not to even think about it. I said, don't worry. When the next thing, he said, just keep working and keep saving your money. He said, the next thing will come around and you'll have something. Just make sure you have some money. Don't spend your money foolishly. And I remember me and my other friend, we started a side business. We did things together and we were at the beach one day. We both worked night shifts and we were at the beach and we had both invested in gold and gold had gone up and he had gotten into Tesla too. And I taught him the stock market when I was in the market. He had made some good money on Tesla. And we were together and we were like, man, we have a good life. I was like, I appreciate you. He's like, I appreciate you too. And I was like, we both have a good life because we save our money. Like, we don't squander our money. And then when there's an opportunity, I was like, we both were able to make more money on our money. I was like, we're slowly getting that was back when I was like, this was like 10 years and my little my little bars of gold had done whatever, 900 to 1,200 bucks. But I finally at least saw my saving. I finally made a move and saw the move pay off in a couple years. And I had a little more than I had before. And I said, okay, all right, this is how it is. Like, so they didn't even know really what, trading really was. Like to me, just buying and selling something, you know? Um, uh, so, through all that, um, I just began to have so much faith in myself too, and faith that no matter what situation, I would somehow make it out on the other end and end up better, smarter, well, more learned. And no matter how much pain I went through, I just learned to use that pain. Um, and they still do it now. I'm pretty numb to it, but they still do like this huge market crash from March. So, it's kind of stinks to see a lot of altcoins just melt that took us a year and a half to accumulate. Like, um, you know, uh, a lot of things are still actually higher than they were because we got in, but you had to get in very, very early, like you had to be in 18 months, like in the bear market. And, but they definitely push your will every single cycle. And every cycle is a little different. And no matter how much my will has been tested, they test it again. And it's funny, I'm with my sister today and we went to lunch and then I was driving home talking to her. And when I'm talking to her, I try to explain the market and I try to explain how they bring the price up and down to an emotional state to get people to. I said, see, the market maker wants all the shares. I said, or the whales want all the shares, and they want to bring the price down to a place where the retail will sell all the shares to them at a lower price. They don't want retail in at 25 cents. They want to be in at 25 cents. They want retail to jump in at 90 and 100 when they're selling. You know what I mean? And so what they do is they really push the markets down and down and down, and they leave them there and leave them there. So the average person just can't handle it anymore. Because like The day-to-day person like is looking for a double up at least every in a year, right? If I put my money in, will I double in a year? Like I mean, like can 5 grand turn really the average person wants to turn 5 grand to 10 grand in about 6 months. I'll be honest. That's what they kind of like. Some people even quicker, but the average person thinks at least could I double. And so they put some money in the market, it slumps, and a year goes by, half a year goes by. Like most people just, you know, they give up, man. They don't even look at the account or they start selling off. They forget passwords. They move on. They don't and they do that on purpose, right? To see, basically how low they can get the price. And it's crazy, right? But that's kind of like the battle is like, can you hold on? You know? And every time I get more and more battle tested, right? So look, that 1 hour head and shoulder eventually took the bait, right? And dumped to the downside. Remember? Let's see. I see when I saw it, but I was looking at it, I was like, oh, that looks like a head and shoulder pattern. Yeah, so today at like 5:26, because you know what's crazy? If you just it's so hard to be black and white with trading because you learn so much and you do so much and you want to be more so expressive and creative with it. But like at the end of the day, like if it looks like a duck, like that's a head and shoulder. The odds are 68% chance. We dumped a 55, 690, like, right? And there we are, like at what, 56, 530, like not too far away, right? Um, if I get half the move, I'm happy. But it told us, like it said, I'm a head and shoulder. I like to dump. And I dump more than I pump. And so don't long me, and Sam says when you can't stay above a 200 SMA. So once this candle closed below, that was a rejection. Now we rejected it a few times before and we didn't short. So I wouldn't expect everyone to gain the short. I didn't jump in on it. It was kind of sketch. Let's be honest. But it was a head and shoulder pattern. It did lose the point of control. And then we did lose the 200. And honestly, I've been saying this every day now for the last few days, coupling the 200, the point of control with the 200. That's when moves are made. Look, a big move happened here when you went out of it. Whenever you can get the 200 near the point of control, usually there's going to be some type of action, right? So, and then look, you had a gap in the VRVP. You had this gap here, which said, hey, if you fall, this is where you're going to. That's liquidity. Look, that's liquidity. And so it makes sense that and then we looked at Bookmap, and Bookmap had globs lower than it had above us, right? It's crazy. So even though I said today was a tough day and we couldn't figure it out, we really did though, right? I mean, at 5:30, I said that's a head and shoulder. And I did say there was a 70% chance if you round it up by 2%. 70% chance is pretty high. If you told me that there was a 70% chance I was gonna get hit by a car if I crossed the street, I would never cross that street. Never in a way would I risk my, because that's pretty high percentage that I could get hit. And I don't want to get hit. So like that's why I play 70%, like 100. When I teach my students pattern trading, I tell them you have to inherit the pattern as if it never lies. And that is also cat ears. And we went over that on the live. And cat ears do this. It's exactly what they do. Let's take a look at cat ears pattern. And it was a double top M, right? And the M goes from here to there. You know, by no means was I was like, hey, look at my long right now. I did take some scalp longs here. I got in and out. It You know, I was up like 60, $80. I was like, all right, I'm out. I said, I'm not going to wait around for this to play games. I saw my wife. She said, can you hold the baby? The baby fell asleep in my arms. Today I went to a guy right near my house does like he does like green screens and stuff, and we had to do a shoot for something that I'm working on and something for the channel. So I did like a green screen shoot. It's kind of cool, like another place. And then took my sister to lunch, came back home, was in the charts with you guys for the whole time. Then when I jumped out, held the baby, and then like took a 20-minute like brain rest, and then here we are, right? Um, and we've been up really grinding since 7 in the morning in the charts. It's just been Chop City around the 200, and then we lost it to the downside. So, and it makes sense. Everything makes sense to me there. Checks out pretty much. I wanted to show you cat ears. That's the one thing I wanted to show you. I think it's a cool, interesting pattern of all the patterns I've ever seen. It's pretty identifiable, but you'll see it here. See, it's like one, and then you kind of mill up. There it is, there too again. It's exactly what we did. It's amazing how there's like that's cat ears, man. Did exactly like it's just like doesn't get better than that, you know? Like that's it. So anyway, and I'm telling you, man, as funny as that is, you're like someone might be laughing right now, right? Cat ears, right? But as funny as that is, uh, anecdotes and nicknames and certain things are ingrained in our society because they're pretty much true. You know what I mean? Like, and so they're like people call it cat ears because they've seen it many, many times, and it's don't. Now, if you didn't even use the 200 MA, like it's still cat ears. Like, and you could say, hey, well, we lost support, you know. Anyway, we'll get out of the smaller time frames. We're gonna zoom out. But I don't right now, I don't know if I'll be making a trade tonight, but we'll look, we'll see. But we're gonna break down the bullish and the bearish probabilities from the big to the small. Again, we got to reclaim 60,000, period, right? And if we do that, then we can begin to rebuild. But 60,000, these two candles, we got to get back above that resistance now. So that's it, 60K resistance. And then where is our support going to eventually lie? That's what we want to know. And so there is a chance that we do one of these, bing, bong, right? And then we rip out and we still test 46, 47 on some type of last minute, But what we want to see is the shoulder, this head, and this right shoulder. So we'd like to see in the next 2 to 3 weeks, at the very least, we'd have to get back above 60,000. If 4 weeks from now you're not above 60K and you're hanging around, it's likely you're taking the road to the right, and you're not getting back up there. Preferably, I'd like next week to go up, maybe reject it, and the week after that kind of fight it and then get above it. But we'll, anyway, we'll be watching how that occurs. But that's our way out is an inverted head and shoulder. You can see it perfectly could be half, but it may not happen. It may not do that. So we'll see. But it's setting up for some type of behavior. And when you see this is a good sign. Like we'd like to see this close as such. We call this tweezer bottoms. As you can see, that they looks like a pair of tweezers right next to each other. Pair of tweezers right there, right next to each other. This one's a little longer of a pair of tweezers, and we were gone there. Little pair of tweezers right there, one and one. There, we didn't have the wick, but we were gone. There's some tweezers there, gives us a move. There's some little ones, right? And it's the same way on the upside, like tweezers here, you're down. And you could flip this upside down and say, if that's the way up, then that's the way down. So that's the way down, then that's the way up. So if we can get the weekly candle to close, it can be the beginning of somewhat of a bullish sign here because we have tweezer bottoms and it's a green candle. This closes red, it's going to be pretty bearish. So we want to see this close green. A close like this wouldn't be bad. This would be good enough for me because we would have these two candles above each other with the tweezers. I wouldn't like it. I'd like a little more, right? This is kind of a bearish doji because you have more sell side wick pressure, but I'll still take it because it could be a reversal, right? However, look at this beautiful. That's a very bullish pin bar right there, and it only gave we eventually didn't respect it, which is pretty odd. Um, that signal is usually a pretty large signal up. So when that is not respected, it's manipulation to me because it's over time. I mean, I guess nothing's supposed to happen, but it's very rare you'll see a bullish pin bar on the weekly like that give up its wick. Only, usually that won't happen until way later. But alas, Bitcoin was being toyed with. So anyway, that looks bullish to me. If at just very beginning stages. I'm not like, oh my gosh, and it could change in the next 3 days. So, and then when I look at this, it's like it's really hard to make sense of any type of real pattern we got going on here. Because like, if anything, I just have to say it broke the last pattern we were in, and it's gonna have to make some type of either bigger falling wedge here, like so. But again, I usually don't like to use, I guess I have two touches that gives me some trajectory. I could go with this, but I'd love it to make the inverted head and shoulder. That 3 day chart is now looking 1 hour and 23 days. That this 3 day candle has to close above 60,000. Like, if you don't get that close, I mean, and then your next candle, it just starts to kind of bear flag out there. And I don't know, it's anything could happen, but I really like to see in the next two days this candle turn green at least. So that's not too good for the bulls. And then the daily candle today, the heavy rejection of the 200 MA. Hope, signs of hope. Yes, yes. We almost looked above it and then no, right? And so let's take a look. We opened at 57,725. The high was 59,650 even. The low was 57,050 even. And we closed at 57,339 and 89 cents. We go down 385 bucks. So only a $385 candle, like not that, again, not a lot of volatility for Bitcoin to move 300 bucks in the whole day. A little bit of wickage, so it moved a little more than that, but that's where it began and ended, right? So pretty small movement for a $1 trillion asset. But again, rejection by the 200 is not the best sign. So here we stand watching what looks to me, I have to say, to be a bear flag. And unless we get above that 200, I wouldn't be like putting on any giant longs. I would DCA into Bitcoin and I'd start, I like when the fear gets pretty high. This is a good sign, but it could get to 15, it could get to 8, or, maybe we have some more fear to go down to 49, 47. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that would be awesome for me. That's where I would buy more Bitcoin, so I would just have to buy the fear. Because I'm convinced they're going to print money to zero. So because I'm convinced of that, I don't ever second guess that Bitcoin will go to zero. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I throw that out the window. It may be volatile. It may not be as high as it always supposed to be. It may go up and down, but I believe over time it will go up in value over fiat currency. So we're looking for this to get tight. If it gets tight, there's a chance we can break on out. If it can get it, who knows? It could get a huge pump tomorrow out of nowhere. Bitcoin can do anything, but right now, it's starting to show signs that it's filling out a bear flag. And if you can't get it back above the 200, it's, what keeps me holding on is that's bullish divergence right there on the daily. And that's like very rare. You only see it like once every few months. And also very low on the RSI. Like we don't get that low on the RSI on the daily. Right there, we got low. And that was like 25,000. And right there, we kind of got low. And that was the last bottom. Like we barely nipped the dotted line and we went pretty low comparatively. Look how far down we went below the dotted line there. So that's why I was forced to buy the bigger chunk of Bitcoin. And right now I've accumulated 1.3 Bitcoin now in this like probably from like what the 64 in this area here in this fear zone. a little bit when we dip there too, but mostly in here, right? Because I just feel like, hey, like this is where the whales are buying. I'm gonna buy, you know, and a lot of big addresses are accumulating Bitcoin here. So we could easily go sideways for 5 more days, consolidate nicely, make some type of thicker bottom, and then blast above that 200. Come out here, make the right shoulder, break out, and then you know, or even come up, come back down, come up, get tight, and then make a huge breakout. So amazing. Um, yeah. So anyway, so the daily doesn't look amazing to me though. The 8 hour look coming down. We'd like to see that go more sideways. What's good about the 8 hour is it looks like the money printer on the 1 minute, right? Where you have the bullish div, you come up, and it's starting to get the curve, you know. It's funny. I get like some bullish and some bearish vibes still. Like the overall bigger thinker in me is like, dude, it's the bottom. Like it's obviously the bottom. It's gonna bounce and you're good to go. Like the daily has div. Forget about it. Just it just has to work out these smaller time frames. Um, but then I see the 1 hour playing games with the 200 and it's it's not amazing. Uh, just got a high pitch feeling in my ear. But good thing about my ear, man, my ear is better. I'm actually gonna not wear the headphones on it so it doesn't sweat. But my ear is better, man. I've been putting in the going the doctor route. I'm pretty recalcitrant of, but I've been doing it and putting in these things 3 times a day, 4 times if I can, laying down. I'm not using the jacuzzi. I'm not going in the pool. It's really sad for me. Even if I'm the type of guy, if I see a body of water, even if I work all day, I'll just walk by and I'll just like jump in my bathing suit, jump in the pool literally for like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and just like move around, splash it in my head, come right out, take a shower again, and like go to the go soup. Like it's hard for me to see a pool, and I never had one for I wasn't rich, man. Like I never had this type of stuff. So when I see a pool, I'm like, man, I'm still very new to it. I'm like, oh, I want to jump in there, you know. But I'm doing the right thing, keeping the ear, and today it feels like almost back to normal completely. So still a little sore, but today is probably definitely the best day. Hearing is almost restored a little more. So if I just gotten these drops to begin with, probably wouldn't have taken 8 days. Damn you, Dave. So could we have a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder? You know, we could maybe get a possible reversal back to the upside, right? Just get above that 200 and we're gone again. And it's a game of Russian roulette, right? Over and over again with that 200. It Eventually, you could even, all right, fine, I'm just going to commit here with my stop below the low and just, you know, either come get me or let me get paid, And if you come get me, I'll reassess, but I'll never risk more than I can't come back from. So who cares? You know what I mean? And I've come back every time. So I don't trust any of that. Like the system works if you just keep pounding away, like over time. And once the market flips and you get a real good reversal, if you keep playing the system, then it just will pay you very heavily. So as long as you don't have to overtrade, but as long as you keep the engine running, you know what I mean? You just got to kind of stay around a couple trades a week, keep yourself in the zone, and you'll be ready because you won't miss the bigger move then. But if you take too much time off, you might miss a bigger move. But that's the kind of, you know, I'm obsessed with never missing that move, and I know I never know when it's coming. And I put too much time in already. So you get sucked in. So like once you put in 280 days a year and you've gotten some good ones, and then another one's somewhat around, might be next month, it might be a few weeks. It's kind of like, you know, it's for me, it's all worth it in the end. But I made it my life. So like if that's, if you wanted to make it your life, it's fun. It's as fun as it is. It's a full-time, you're all in. You're all in. You're all in. Nothing is easy in life. I'll tell you that. Nothing is easy. You may think things look easy or it might sound easy from the outside. Not, I'm just saying, like anyone, sometimes oh, that guy inherited his dad's car company. It must be so easy. But nothing's easy, man. I'm telling you, like sometimes it's even more stressful on the other end. You never know what someone's going through or what's going on. So, I mean, to me, bearish because double top done. And now you have resistance at this high volume node. And we definitely have resistance at 58,000, right? We know that's 59K now actually was solidified as like a no-no zone, like twice. They're like, nope, we'll sell you off at 59K, right? Now, what we do know though is that probably created a lot of liquidity up here because there's a lot of shorts now. They built their shorts, and there might be some people here now. So we know there's probably a lot of stop losses right here. And look, my tight moving averages are starting to get tight. 200s hanging. We might get that, right? We got that gap that we could come back to because we went down fast. We come up fast. It's like they're on the brink of either slicing it quick or I can like, and even I'm on the defense right now instead of on the offense because I can't fully feel, I can't fully see exactly what they're going to do. It it could go either way right now, honestly. We do have a low, a higher low, and a higher low. I mean, that's a little micro uptrend there. It's like, what is the play for tonight? And honestly, like there are, like I always say, there's a few nights a week, a month, usually on record. I think there's like 3 to 4 nights a month that I'll to me, the market's just a little too indecisive for me to make a call. You know, just like all my probabilities will give me too many both ways. Like there's a nice gap in the VRVP. There's a little that looks look that's a cup and handle. But again, I'm just gonna jump in that long right now. Like it's not one of those nights. Probably just come up, might come back down, might come down, come back up. They'll stop hunt, they'll low volume. So this is what I would say to anyone. Say if you desperately have to be in a trade and you can't stop help yourself, like the trade right now is still the open a short with your stop above the 1 hour 200. You're still pretty close to it. That you could use this point of control and that as your stop loss. And think about it. If you do get stopped out, it usually means a bigger candle came to short squeeze. And, you know, it could mean the reversal's coming anyways. So it's okay. It's like, okay. It's not like, but so to me, that again, like this morning, right? I said the most probable thing is that we go down, right? Now we had a little bit of moves to the upside, but like we overall went to the downside today, right? That's overall $385, but we went down. And the head and shoulder played out earlier today. But you can see not a lot of sell pressure. Like it seems to wane off, just like the buy pressure wanes off though. We're getting look. That's kind of like look, a car screeches to a halt, screeches to a halt. Like couldn't drive the car too far, you like liquidity drying up. You know, likely that we come back tomorrow morning and this thing is just like doing this. Tight sideways, just or to me, I feel like it's either further down or sideways, in my humble opinion, based off of what I'm seeing. But I could be wrong. I could wake up tomorrow and a huge green candle to the upside. I always say I know nothing but the fact of my own ignorance. I just play probabilities that I find possible compared to what I've seen in the past. Like, could that be a wedge broke out, broke back inside? Could you still break out? Measured move would be something like that. You do see this beautiful gap after a bullish div on the daily. A bullish div on the daily keeps me interested as well. And we have bounce, kind of a bounce there. $15-minute loss to 200, 1 minute loss to 200. I mean, I would watch the 1 minute time frame like we always do. And why? Well, because if the 1 minute gets back above the 200, then you're golden. But if not, like that looks more bear flaggy to me. That looks like it's going to continue to dump. to 56,000. So if you get back, look at the resistance now. If you flip this resistance and you really, maybe you could take a trade up to this liquidity, 57.3. But other than that, I would, I see more downside coming for Bitcoin. You look at shoulder. It's crazy. I like when you look at it, like, it's hard to see, but like that's a shoulder, that's a head, that's a shoulder. Almost. And that was all part of the bigger head and shoulder that we found on the 1 hour. Right. And you'll be losing the 200 all over the place. Like here, you just keep losing it. You're bearish. You're bullish when you get above it and you ride out. You're bearish when you get below it and you fight it. Once you got below it here, your red flag should have went off. Ding, 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 ding. Once you had trouble here and then lost it again. Ding, ding, the 200 is really on the 1 minute. I know the 1 minute can be hard to get to know because it's so small. But if you use it as like a weather beam for yourself and just, keep the 4 hour in the daily, but have the 1 minute on some screen or have it on a tab that you can always check on. And it sucks. I used to be like, damn, it's that much hard. I have to look at different. But if it's up to you. Like, it'll really keep you'll see it before everyone else if you use the 1 minute. And trading is taking people's money, right? So like you want to kind of like do it before they do. So you kind of, and most people aren't going to be trained well enough to handle the 1 minute. It's going to take them, so once you get it, you're going to be in the upper echelons, people that can handle the 1 minute. And then that's going to give you an edge. You see, just logically think about what the average person will do. Ask yourself, like, go. They interview people in the street and they ask them like the capital. Like most people don't know the capitals, or like they don't know where Iowa is on a map. Yeah, like they ask people random. Like, so my whole point is if you just put in like what you feel is like way more effort than the average that you've seen around you, you're gonna start to excel. So just ask yourself, like, did I chart as much as life charted today? And maybe you have a job, and that might be impossible, right? But think of how many charts did I go over today? I mean, I charted for hours on end today, even though I was even away from the house for like a couple hours. But I mean, even then I was looking at my the charts a couple times on my phone. Um, and you get better with the amount of time you put into it. That's it. There's no fast route to getting rich. I wish I could tell you it's like a meme coin season and all we have to do is, and it can happen. That may happen. I'm not saying it can't. There's a chance, but how many people lose money? How much money is put into meme coins? If there's 1,000 meme coins, 850 of them go to crap, take billions of dollars and get rug pulled. And maybe 150 get to like, of the 150, maybe 50 get to 100 mil, And then there's like 10 or 12, they get to a billion, right? And then there's like 5, they get to $6 or $7 billion. So just, if you're gonna get in a meme, make sure it has a someone behind it that has more money than that. It wouldn't make sense that they would rug pull the meme. You know, that's my thing. Or like a community that did it in a fair launch. But I mean, and also, I'll tell you what, meme trading is a full-time job. Like there's some people that all they do is meme trading, and it is such a heavy niche that that could be all like you won't be able to really like you won't be able watching Bitcoin as much. You'll check on it, but like and I know that about meme trading, and that's like I dabble in some memes and I grab what I think I speculate on that game, but I don't like heavily uh and I also as much as I love to make tons of money on a meme, like I like investing in like actual company like that does something. I don't know, I don't know, to me it's I don't know, it makes a little more sense. So I don't mind speculating, don't get me wrong, it's all good, but um so I mean that looks money printer-esque, but anyway, I see some type of weird sideways price action tonight. Maybe we could even do a red, like something like that. You never know. Looks like we might get a squeeze up to the 200. Money. Sometimes we make money on during here, right? But you can see the market's flat. It's not moving. It's if look, it's moving by a penny, a couple bucks here and there. So on the 1 minute, and anything can happen. But so I'm taking it easy on that. All right. Uh, let's see. Just gonna go over like some portfolio things. Great news with CPI. That's starting to set up for a bullish rate cut, possibly October, November. So nothing's really changed about my portfolio. I'm stacking Tether now. Um, you know, I'm just starting to stack Tether. I'm not pumping into the market as much. Still got Ondo, still got AI Tech, still got Wild, still got Arkham. Started low. Remember, I added this in the last 3 weeks. I made this bag of 5,700. So that's like something I've actually worked on. Arkham I added in the last 3 weeks. Um, added more Caspa. I already sent 1,000 to the other wallet. So I got like another 6 grand at Casper in the last month and a half. In the last 3 months, I got Rio token, right? I added all that stuff. I added a 3 grand a ton in the last 2 weeks because I figured ton of, when it went to that 513 and started getting to six, I said, I don't think I think this is a great price. And if it gets back to 7 or 8, so I threw 3,000 in and I'm down $20. It's been pretty flat for a while where I bought it at, or maybe I put in like 2,500, but I put in like, you know, yeah, I bought $2,500 like a while back. So it's up a little bit, but not huge. Still hold my whiff, still hold a bunch of things. Mexi token, huge. I take some profits out of this and I put it in other things that are a little risky. It's up pretty nicely. And I bought a lot of Bitcoin, man. You know, I put another 73,000 back into Bitcoin in the last 60, 70 days. Um, maybe, yeah, about 70 days. Yeah, about 2 months. I just kept thinking whenever the market's low and people aren't paying attention, like I'm going to stick to my plan. And that's my plan. And my plan might take 18 months to 2 years for it to fully play out. And people might at first chuckle at me, but I'm telling you, man, my plans have played out over time. Like maybe, I can't guarantee this one will again, but right. So a lot of people are still throwing darts at memes, and I'm buying something like I believe this 1.29 Bitcoin 10 years from now is going to be worth possible, 10x, 730 grand, you know? So I truly believe that. Yeah. At the very least, a 10x from now in 10 years. I'll be happy with that. I really will. Uh, and I believe I can use it as collateral to do other things. That's so I'll ever have to sell it. I'll be able to use it against, as a borrowing asset. Anyway, I'm speculating again on the future. Who knows if that will happen? So that's what I've added to the portfolio. Um, Nothing too crazy. ATH is really the biggest new thing in Arkham, and a little more Caspa when Caspa took that dip, I'm up on that. So I made money on that Caspa move, which is nice. Ondo, we're still up on, but it's pretty like I might. I was thinking I almost wanted to put the 7 grand just right into Ondo right now because they were both the same 78, 78. And I was just like, I'm in between, cashing this out, and using it just, because we got like I have tons of bills right now, like it's out of control. You got to get title insurance. You buy a house, you have to get title insurance for 5 grand. The mortgage company makes you make sure that the title is clear. But the guy's like a lawyer that I'm buying it from. He's the only guy who owns the house. It's like you gotta get flood insurance. Thank God. Guess how much my flood insurance is though? $800 a year. I live out of the flood zone. That's why I purchased where I did. I didn't want to be near the flood zone. I am missing out. I'm not, I have to drive a little bit to the beach, but it's better that, little pump for Bitcoin here, back to 57K. And again, if the 1 hour, crazy enough, gets it back above that 200, then so be it. Right. But I wouldn't long anything now till the 1 minute breaks back above the 200. If that's what your plan is. Other than that, I would look for this to dump. I feel like if I keep going Bitcoin again, I'll just go, I eventually just have to put it away. But yeah, then you have house insurance. I think that's going to be 5 grand a year, right? which I guess isn't too bad. But then you have the HOH fee, which is $400 a month. It just never ends, man. Like, you know, then you have to get someone to inspect the house before you buy it. You got to pay the inspector. Then you got to pay the appraiser to appraise the house. Like, I'm just like, wow. I'm like, wow. Like they got you wrapped up. Like they take so much money from the middle class, man, to do all these little things. And it's like, it's kind of ridiculous. You know, it's like a way for big business and banks just to drain us, honestly, throughout all our transactions in our life. I was like, we should just keep renting and buy rental properties, whatever. Like, um, that's another story that some people can argue both ways. You know, you don't pay the HOH fee when you rent the house. The owner does, you know. You don't pay the pool. You got to pay the pool guy. He's $110 a month. Comes cleans the pool, so you don't have to clean the pool. Like, I mean, unless you want to sit there and scrub the pool every week, I don't think so. I don't want to be doing that. You know what I mean? I just want it to look nice. But again, I mean, it's like, you know, but you can either work your butt off 7 days a week and pay people to do other things, or work 5 days a week and have 8 days a month to work around your house. You know what I mean? So you can either take the weekend off, like, but I don't. I work the weekends, and so I don't really have the time I have is to spend with my family in the pool. You know what I mean? I don't want to be cleaning the pool in those 3 hours. I want to be with my daughters. Like, so it's like I trade that time off, you know, to do what we do. Like, yeah. And you'll find your happy medium in life, you know. So there's BTC in a nutshell. Pretty lackluster night. I'd say more downside, if anything. But if you see us get above the 200 in the 1 minute, then there's a chance we spark. You know, levels you'd be looking to take profits are, you know, about 50 back to 59K, and you know, just psychologically 59 58.5, right? But I don't know. Me and Bookmap both looking more likely like we're going to 56, 55, 6. But who knows? But it's funny. My measured move is exactly where Bookmap says the liquidity is. And if you've known me, that usually tells you something, right? You probably heard me say that many times, and we've gone to the liquidity. But you guys know more than me because I can't. You know, you've watched me so many times. Like you might take me as a meat. Like someone said today, they were like, I would just long because Lifer's on and it's 11 o'clock. He was like, he's like, I would just take a long because like the odds are that we're gonna see a short squeeze. You know, they couldn't argue with the man. He was right. You know, from what I've seen. But let's look at the total market cap and all of crypto and just see like key levels that matter. I'm gonna do my weekly top down analysis tomorrow, so it's gonna be very very similar. Daily rejected by the same thing. Like you got to flip the 200 and I can breathe. You don't flip the 200, then we just, and how you figure this out. This is how I figured out a way to figure everything out, right? You basically take this little length here, and that's how much this would dump. That's what I've learned. You take this length of this length, and this will dump like that. So you'll end up falling to 159, right? And obviously it makes sense. It goes right to these key areas. Maybe you'll get a stop at this just because you have some resistance right here, but it's, you know, so to me, like you gotta start closing a few daily candles above this and above the 200, or I just don't see how we don't come and revisit these lows. And only time will tell. So they got me in a like, you know, the Bulls got to show me something in the next 2 3 days, or we're likely going to get a drop further down. See, Bitcoin struggled to 57K all the way back at 56,860. I wouldn't trade tonight, and I use, you know, the market's just kind of crap. Even if we miss a couple moves here and there, it's just not. Sometimes it's not worth it. It's not worth to put your capital up when it's that chippy choppy. You know. Again, you might see something I'm not and have a little system that you're more comfortable in. And I honestly, if that's true, that's awesome. You know, for me, I know the boat can ride smoother in the water. I'm not saying I couldn't force a trade and probably make it happen. I probably could, but I know there's way smoother waters to trade. Even in more, even when there's chop that's not as choppy as this or as tight as this, you know. So that's all I'm saying. I'm assessing the environment, and it's like it's almost too difficult. Like it's like, you know what I mean? I gotta go too above and beyond. It's like I just want my system, I want to see my system take advantage of the probability and go on. You know, I don't want to force it. All right. And I bought Steve will do its coin too. I put like 5 grand in that coin. Some people, you might laugh at me and think I'm a clown for doing that. That's the speculative Nate. That's why I'm a speculative investor. Like sometimes I might do something a little kind of off the wall that someone might not understand fully. But I watch the internet and I've made my money off watching internet trends. And I think I'm pretty good at it. You know, I could see the Bitcoin trend before it happened. I could see the pandemic a little bit before it happened. I was picking up on information the internet was giving me, and it was telling me things about the market. And I was listening, you know. Love that. Astrobot Society member, advanced. It's about time because it used to read funny for some reason. I don't know why it was weird. Of course, they changed their whole lookout like the last couple of days. All right, so the most bullish coins they like right now. And remember that fast token just refuses to go down. I don't almost like weirds me out that it does that. I do like Moon with a Bull. If I was gonna add any meme coin, Moon moves pretty hot. Has a lot of people behind it. People that deep dive, like the team looks like they're not going anywhere. They're gonna get listed on a sex event, a centralized exchange eventually. Again, I just said, whatever. This one here too could be offensive. I don't know, but what I do this is just to see what's new coming out. All these windows start to look alike. Can't see what's going on. Screens. I go to bed. Screens in my mind. Screens and screens. Save me, David. Save me. Take me to the mountains. Mantra DAO just keeps gaining. It's attached to real world asset. I bought this coin like 5 years ago. I actually still own it somewhere on a wall. I just thought about it today. I was like, I gotta go dig that thing up. It's probably in gains, you know. But that coin just keeps picking up steam. Rollbit too, because think about it. Online gambling is huge. I'm not involved in it in any way, and I don't look. I'm not trying to like whatever. It's not my thing. You know what I mean? My dad told me my whole life never to gamble. You'd be like, yeah, but you're a trader. It's funny, right? But like I don't put money in the Super Bowl. I don't play. You know, I know a lot of guys who trade, and they're also always putting parlays down. Like trading and gambling to them are like, that's not me, guys. I don't do that. I'm not doing parlays. I'm not. I watch my Celtics in peace, and I just watch the game. I don't bet on sports. I don't know. It's not my just not my thing. I like technical analysis. Like if I could do some TA in the sport somehow and get some type of edge, right? Link AI keeps coming up. I actually want to use it, and it looks like it has a really good use case, and it looks like it could actually be used. And so it's not just like some baloney like a lot of these other coins that are coming out. This one's got my radar. I would write this down, man. This AIAT2 AI analysis token, things that we can like use to look at the market. I think though that's interesting. Gamey's been out for a while, GME, right? But tiny market cap. Football may have a little bit of moves, right? Argentino football, greener coin, drift. Remember that was the like a perpetual exchange. I keep watching it. If we ever see that it gets, some moves. Funny, look, they're late on Hoppy. We were on Hoppy like 3 weeks ago. Remember? We nailed Hoppy. Someone gave it to us on the live. The live stream finds a lot of coins, everyone. People show up and give us coins. Bitcoin back up 57,000. Getting the pump. It's a funny night. Probably just went and grabbed some liquidity. Like thought, oh, I'm gonna take a little short right now. And they're like, yeah, you are. Blip, right? Just kind of going take you guys out real quick, blong, and come right back down on you. And they're like, what? Was short? I would have been right. What? It's like that's basically like weekend type of trading. See, Thursday and Friday will be more weekend trading when you have Jerome Powell on Tuesday and Wednesday. You understand that? When you have more of these, and then you had CPI, when you have all these like events through the week, they tire out the market. They drain out the liquidity. They drain out they just like some people just I'll trade next week. Smart traders don't trade Tuesday, Wednesday because they don't want to trade during the volatility and 8:30. They wait for all that. So a lot of probably traders that trade might have taken this whole week off, man. Honestly, because it's just like they knew it was going to be a wash, right? And then you add summer trading a little bit in there with lower volume, and it's a triple wash. Bitmart, any token that's attached to an exchange, and Bitmart's been small, but it keeps coming out there, it tells you, okay, they like Casper too. Of course they do. Why wouldn't you? Bonk back. Ponky's been on my radar. If any strong coin, Ponky's a strong meme. Like, Popcat's a newer one that had some run up. Maybe they believe some more is coming for it. People are kind of like there's a lot of HNT people, like it kind of gets pretty culty. I'm not trying to be rude, it just whatever. And they love their helium because they put so much money into it and they want to mine and they'll defend it to the death. But like helium really, I don't know, it didn't produce as much money as I thought it would have. I watched a lot of my friends who mined it, and I don't know. It could have been a good investment if you first started. And now they have this helium mobile token, which a lot of people are like, oh, it's gonna be great. I don't know, man. I think it's gonna do what most coins do this run, but I don't think anything special is gonna come of it. But maybe I'm wrong. But my speculative insider vibe says, nah. I believe Notcoin is going to continue to do better. Like I think Notcoin will probably do better than that. Zignali I think will do better than that too. Zignali has a really good chart and it's really strong. ENS tends to pump nicely. If ETH gets the ETF, watch ENS pump hard. This is like a nice low cap play on Ethereum. So if you think Ethereum's going to go up, you just play Ethereum name service. You know what I mean? And it usually like you'll see this go from 26 bucks to 60 bucks way before you see Ethereum triple usually. I love doing that. I attach myself to the asset that's smaller that is going to move. Like when Doge pumps, you got Baby Doge, you got Doge Chain, you got like 5 assets that all tend to pump when Doge goes up, you know, and usually they make a better multiple. Akash Network's been super strong compared to the rest of the market. Big Data Protocol, I'd write that down. Big BDP. Let's see what that is. That's interesting to me. It's got a $14 million market cap. Just had a pump in the last couple of days, up from 22 to 28. 65% of the supply is out. That's great. So you can't get dumped on too bad. Got an Ethereum address. It's on MEXC, Gate.io, all the low cap, you know, spots. Volume is very low on MEXC, 85,000. So it's kind of like, you're taking a shot at a long shot there. That's the problem with like low volume coins too at this time. It's not my favorite thing to do, but there are going to be some gems around now if we pay attention, you know. I just want to look at the chart. I bet it's not amazing. Banana Gun has utility. I put this to the chart today. You have a low, high, higher, low. Getting tight, this chart just hasn't stopped. People use it to snipe. So as long as there's going to be sniping going on, Banana Gun will probably continue to go up. So I think this is like almost a win-win, but you never know. I don't own any, so it doesn't matter if you buy it or not. You're not pumping my bags. But just logically, that makes sense to me. You do that math, figure it out. But I feel like this is if you look up what Banana Gun is, it's a bot used to snipe memes, right? I believe on Solana. So anyway, Right now, it's not, not a lot of altcoins pumping. That one has enough going on because people, seem to be desperate for memes no matter what. Also, we've played this before, BDP, Big Data Protocol. Had a nice couple days. Interesting. 15, it's doubled up in 6 days. Interesting, right? Wish I got the memo right. But look, it bounced off the 200 MA. Like it didn't lose it. And then the daily just got above the 200. So that's something you could buy right now with a stop on the other side and just see what happens. See? Like I could blindly put $1,000 in BDP right now and just if it ends up going below, I'll sell for $800 and forget about it. But if I hold it, maybe it's so, and then if it keeps going, maybe I add in, I don't know. I haven't really thought about buying this coin. I don't want to just out of nowhere buy it right now and chase, but it is, I mean, it's bullish compared to the rest of the market. The last time it broke the 200, it had a pretty big pump. There was okay, but it tells me that there could be some movement. 3-day chart's just getting started. Wow, the 4-day chart, it was in a flag. Again, the volume is going to be very low. So it's going to be like almost hard to get in and out for like anything over a few $100. Like, but wow, this thing's starting to grow a little bit and getting some buzz. BDP, Big Data Protocol. I don't know. It's coming out to me right now. I don't know why. I'll go through hundreds of coins and then one will just glare at me. That one's saying something. This WOM protocol keeps coming out at me too. I don't like it per se, but I've been seeing it a lot. Like Naka I think Naka is a great load up, and right now the DCA, I already own a huge bag of it. So, but we loaded up a lot in the bear market. I think Celestia is a good load up right now, and Ton is I think those three coins are just, solid 10x's in my humble opinion. And I'm not a financial advisor, I could be wrong, but to me, they're solid 10x's. Alex, you're taking more of a speculative shot on the BRC ecosystem, so you might want to wait on Alex. But we've got into Alex really early. Bitgert, because it's like that tends to move, it's an exchange based token, right? So yeah, in Link AI, I would write that down. Don't forget that one. Link AI. All right. LINQ AI. It is on MEXC as LNQ. It's really just consolidated. It hasn't really lost or made a lot of money. It's just been doing its thing, kind of getting ready for maybe a bigger move. But I like the tech behind it. I like the product. I like the website. To me, it all makes sense. But and it's not speculative. Like it's real. Like it seems you can use it as we speak. So chart looks kind of lackluster, really just sideways, whatever, right? It might even go a little lower, but I do like the project per se, and they're spotlighting it a little bit. There's a chance it ends up somewhere up in here a few months from now. You never know. And that would conclude the weekly screen share. I mean, we did pretty good, right? We went over Bitcoin thoroughly. It pumping. It's pumping now to the 200. Look, it might flip that now. That flips that, or I might be forced to open along. Even see, I'll open along even if I don't want to, just because like, or we're gonna get rejected hard now. Remember, a lot of times we bounce off of it. Where did we bounce? Did we bounce off of it? Like there we did, there we did. So we could also get rejected by it. It's gonna be but in the next few minutes. This is actually like gonna be a big deal here because we either not gonna make it past that 200 or we are right. There's a rejection. And knowing tonight, like I wouldn't be surprised if it like went up a little bit, hung out, went down a little bit, it's like just like toyed with your emotions the whole time. Remember, if you don't recover from that 200, you're likely going down to 55.9. You get above it, then you take, profits at liquidity at 59,000, 58.5. Remember, if you're real stingy at like 58, you know? So really all about the 1 minute right now. It'll be your guide, and then see if you can expand. What if you turn into this like complex inverted or something? But to me, I see more down. I think it's more likely we go down than up, just like this morning. And now you look, you have bounce, 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 bounce. You got to flip that. You got to do previous support is now resistance at 57,200. All right. And that concludes the weekly screen share. Wish we traded together. Wish we had more fun. We don't get to do it every time. You know what I mean? And expect that too. The summer will just be it'll be a little drier, a little touch and go, but we'll get through it. I've done it many times. And yeah. Thank you everyone who stayed. What up, Justin, man? Looking fresh, bro. Wow, man. That ayahuasca did you good, man. Wow. That's amazing. I like the setup, dude. Oh, how's that? Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I got to talk to you. I'll call. Can we talk? Does your phone work or yeah? All right, WhatsApp. I'll call you. WhatsApp. You can call me WhatsApp, right? Yeah, so text me WhatsApp. I'll call you because I wanted to know how you're using that because I had some problems with that thing, but I knew it was hot and I wanted to get to know. All right. Dude, Jensen, dude, I like this guy. He looks like a warrior, man. What's up, my man? I like that. But shout out to everyone that kicked it with me tonight. I appreciate it. Hold on, let's see. Let's see here. Allow participants to unmute themselves. Let's see. If anyone wants to say anything, say something because I usually don't do, but we'll see if we can get a few people to say what up, you know.
Bye, Casper. What's up?
I like it. I like that. Whoever said that, you're a good man.
Sam is the GOAT.
Thank you. Anything you want to explain too? Anything that's a
Yeah, I
little,
don't say much. Here.
no?
Love your content.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
I'm always here.
Always
Yes,
looking
sir.
forward to always looking forward to the screen share.
Thank you.
Always looking forward to the short squeeze on the live, man.
Right? I thought today's screen share was really nice. How we went through the 200 kind of movement on a bigger time frame, and like, and again, a lot of people have showed UTA. Like, I've put real money, like my life, into these positions at these places with these strategies that I'm showing you. Like, it's like dear to my heart. Like, it's how I made it. It's my sword. Like, it's like I'm alive because of these positions, because of these strategies. I'm here. Like, you know, um, so. And I always like to talk about like I worked a night shift. I had depression. I went through like you know, I saw so many of my friends were buying these apartments and driving, brand new Audis, and I was just like, man, like I wonder what that's like. I wonder what that would be like one day. And at the end of the day, it's all. I feel like we desire things just to check it off the list that we got them. It's kind of like
We're pumping.
Yep, there we go. The 1 minute break, it did. Look, dang it. It's like, do I have to open a long now? It's like I have to open a long now. It's so annoying. I was telling my sister that today. I was like, I don't open trades when I desire. I was like, I just open trades when the trade tells me to open it. Wow, look how fast that thing pumped above the 200 though. It's pretty sketchy. Then look, it's gonna go really far away from the 21. Oh, there it goes. Look at that. Yep. Squeeze, man. Squeeze. There it is. It happened.
He's still squeezed.
It still happened, right? I was trying to leave. Like I tried not to do it, and it still happened. Like it's so crazy. I feel like whenever I'm at my computer, there's a short squeeze. Like, and it hasn't been one for hours. It's so funny. Damn, that's a violent one, right? Look, you had a front run that one, honestly. That's why sometimes I do. 'Cause I'm just like, today they played with me so much that I just, you know, I was like, man, I'm not doing it today. So now what I would do is I'd be, okay, we can see you're frisky, you want to go crazy, but you made the space from the 21. So you're gonna pump a little more. Something's gonna happen here. You might pump up a little more or whatever, but it looks like you're gonna have to come back to the 21 now. You're gaping way too far away from the 21. So now you're like, all right, do your thing, but you're gonna have to come back to the 21 above the 200. And if that happens, that's a really nice trade. That's like something that I look for because I love when I stay above the 200 and I come in contact with the 21. So I would project this on the one. And if that starts to play out, I would take it. See? Now, what will happen is you give it right back, lose the 200, boom. So that's why you wait for this projection. If lose the 200, it was another game like they were playing today, and it's just a liquidity grab, right? But again, like price action would shoot up to the 200. Like it's weird how it like. So right now you're done. Like I would if I was in this quick move, I would take profit because you're too far from the 21. Like it's 90% that you're gonna come down now. Have to come to this white line. 99%, like that's gonna happen right now. Like I'm almost like I'm there's like nothing in me that thinks that's not gonna happen. Right.
Hey, Sam,
Yeah.
is there ever a strategy that you see with a short squeeze when you can identify it that you take a short after the squeeze?
Yeah, like honestly, like I just don't train my brain to do it. But like these are perfect. These are like exactly what you should short right to the 21 now. You know, like you just keep short, you know. What I found is I'm better at like finding my model, seeing the model and attacking, rewarding myself for the move. And then I go get like, you know, I go like I like to get like an ice, like I drink these like spin drift things, right? So I just like I put some I don't drink, so like my little reward is like a salsa, you know, or something. But I want in my training room, like and like I want to rest my eyes for that moment and give myself a break. But like that is honestly like I could flip my system and only
So you
short
don't, yeah,
time.
you don't generally double up the trade then.
I did the other day on the stream. It was like one of the first times I went in long and I went in short on this in like a 20-minute period. Like remember the short was like 2 minutes, the long was like 3 minutes. And but it wasn't the exact, I didn't do like a reverse, you know what I mean? I wasn't like bling blang, you know what I mean? That's like a dream of mine to just be like nunchucking, like, you know, just like, honestly, I think it's also a bit like, it's a bit unrealistic too. And it could be mind draining, you know? But yeah, I mean, I know
Do
it's
you know
crazy.
with your experience how many candles after a squeeze on the 1 minute that you'd count where you go, we're about five in, then we take that short down?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, all the Stokes again. You don't have to count the candle, but like when you hit the dotted line, it's the same thing as the other one, right? You get
Right.
from the 21, just like you know, and when you get away from the 21, or now, see what we're looking for here is this. See, you want to not lose the 200, but gain back the 21. If you do that, that's very bullish. Right. You're also going to have to get across, right? The 21 will have to cross, which is what I call a pre golden cross, right? Uh, Now, if you end up closing below it, and see, today's the type of day I wouldn't be surprised if they just like do one of these and then like and then ripping the thing up again. You know, I don't know. I'm very sketched out by today for whatever reason. I can't explain why. I just feel the market's got this. You know, it's almost like maybe I feel like some type of big move is usually I don't go by feelings. Like I don't trade on that, but like there are times where like I just get this. I can't explain it, but like something's about to happen, you know? I do get this feeling of anticipation. Like tomorrow we're gonna see
Intuition.
something.
That's your intuition.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely have like I can feel right now. It's like my intuition is like revving up a little bit. And whenever it does that, like usually something weird's gonna happen the next couple of days. So it's telling me to something's going on, but we'll see. I can't tell if it's a huge move up or down though. It just tells me like a big move is coming. If we keep this 200, we're gonna rip again, and you'll rip this length here. And another thing, like my measured moves, man, you just get like, because everyone's like, how do you do the measured move? And I'm always like that, and like I can't fully explain how like you just start to know. There's just this feeling like that's the next leg up because like it made the leg. The algorithm's gonna go blank, 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 you know. And I'm not perfect, but usually I'm pretty pretty close to spot on when that next move is going to go on the smaller time frame, right?
Do you remember the measured move that you did? It was on the, I think it was maybe a bull flag before you got on trading, or the excuse me, the you started showing your wallet how you did that measured move. Do you remember?
On the falling wedge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like falling wedges are weird. They're like, so say this is the wedge, right? If it's a chubby wedge, right? Like it has a broader area. I'm taking like the whole back of the wedge.
Oh, okay, that's how you got it. Gotcha.
Okay. But if it's like a tighter wedge, I'm gonna elongate. I'm gonna like you'll see it like you'll elongate the flag a little bit. That's what I did there, you know. But you'll see it because like it'll go up and down, and you'll kind of like notice how that's the one line, you know. Over time, this is technically Elliott wave theory. Like that's wave one, that's wave two. This would be wave three, right? So like, but I don't really. I know a lot of theories, but I don't like certain ones. I felt like just didn't sit. They didn't speak to me like other things, so I don't use them as much. But like, it is like wave one, two, three. That's why it's supposed to hit. That's that wave that the algorithm is supposed to read. That's where price should be going, and then it usually lines up with a big resistance area. Like right there, we bounced. You know, like you'll find out a lot of times because like it's all algorithmic.
So do you follow mini Elliott waves
Sorry, bro.
in the back of your mind in trades?
Yeah, I guess I am all the time without realizing I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah,
did
because you
hang out
don't
with
never
Elliott
mention
Trader
them.
for like my first like 5 years, like 5 years ago in 2017. I was in a room with like 10 Elliott wave traders and a group of 30 people. And they were just constantly like, and like eventually, like they all said it was gonna go down, and I called along, and like I was, you know, whatever. I was like, I nailed that one. That one I got right. And see how the Stokes are curving now. You didn't lose the 200, and the 21 came pretty much close to price action. Telling you, you're likely going to get the cross and that Bitcoin, and now you're just going to see you're going to double top through 57.3, and you know, and then you want to in the back of your mind, you want to be like, how is that 1 hour? Like, what other time frames are going for their 200s? I like to have another chart open that's just clear. You know, like the 5. And again, to solidify if this is a real good follow through, you could even wait to get into a long until the 5 or the 7 breaks the 2. You know, that's if you like, just like I showed you, you could get into the daily when you crack the 200, or you could wait for the 3-day. Remember how we talked about that on like a really large trade? And the 3-day, if you waited, you'd get in way later. Like Walmart, you got in 100 on the daily, but it was like 136 on the 3-day. But the 3-day was higher likely. Very similar here. Like you can always trade that 1 minute break above the 200, and it works pretty well. But you can wait for the 5 or the 7, tends to be a little stronger.
Oh, this security stuff, man. Oh. Hello?
Yeah, man.
Oh, snap.
What is that?
Dude. Huh? Bro, we're in the middle of the city right now. That's why I had to come downstairs to talk to you. I couldn't, I couldn't, open my.
Lost it.
Uh, uh, but yeah, because in the government, you got all the crazy security, bro. It's like these, they got like to go into it, and then you have to go through another apartment that we're staying in right now. It's insane, bro. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
see,
her family
lackluster
is
here.
you know, her
Just,
family's pretty high up in the government over here, so they have like all kinds of security. Anyway, yeah, no, I was just yeah, I just wanted to say what's up, guys.
what up?
So I stepped outside. But yeah, dude, ayahuasca experience was awesome, bro. Awesome.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Hey, I got one
Mhm.
question too.
Yep.
After you done talking,
Yeah.
what I noticed I want to know because I'm in the chat, but I never does anybody use like why don't they never you guys never talk about this? I don't know if nobody uses it like the Haikanashi candles. What's I know it's a difference in it, but I noticed for some reason when I like switch back and forth with it, it helps me see the divergences in the RSI way easier for some reason. I don't know why is that. Like it just pops out way easier in the
Yeah,
RSI.
it'll make divergence a little. It really depends on like your trading style, you know. Like someone will tell you, hey, Hikanashi, right? Like here I have Hikanashi up.
Mm-hmm.
And for years I will go back and forth. And one day I must have just hit a hot trade, hit another hot trade. Next thing I hit like 10 straight. And like I just forgot what the word Hikanashi was. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm-hmm.
eventually something will work for you and you're just like, but like like there's like a Bible to like see this is Hikanashi, right? What I don't appreciate about Hikanashi is um I would have to trade it for probably 2 years to get as good as I am at what I am, or maybe even longer. You know what I mean? There's some
Mm-hmm.
I my gift is I can understand what a minute, subtle difference in the intricate levels of your brain and how far that can compute into bigger levels, right? Like if I can take you where I took you in my mind just now, I don't know if I did, but like, and like
Yeah.
you can fine tune these levels like on to such a high degree. And the second you tweak what you fine tune, like you're back to zero again a little bit because I'm so far into where I'm at this point. So like if I went back to Ikanashi, like it would throw off a lot of what I'm doing because, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, like you can just buy when you break the 200. It's not going to change whether you're trading Hikanashi or, you know, it's not going to change. Look, the 200 line is in the same spot. But you look, you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't see this buy pressure on the green candle right now. You'd kind of see it, but you
Yeah,
know,
you wouldn't see it.
um, I'd have to sit with them together back and forth. And then I might, after 2, 3 years, find out that there is an edge to Hikanashi. Like, but that's so deep. And I know the intricacies of how far that could go. And so and that's another sad thing about trading is no one's given a guideline, and some people are like 3 years into something that like they still don't fully get yet. You know what I mean? And then they bounce
Mm-hmm.
to something else, and then 6 years go by, and that almost happened to me. Like you're grabbing onto so many strategies, you never find your model. You know?
That feel like that's where I am right now. So much things I'm trying to figure that I know that I learned in this chat in this group. I'm still trying to figure out which one do I want to stick to. The
Yeah.
200 method, I do that. The RSI divergences, all of that, oversold, overbought
I mean, you'll
territories.
use them all in some way. Like one day I'll see a 200 and I might take it, but there's other days I'll see a 200 inside of a perfect falling wedge with the divergence that just, you know what I mean? Like you'll like on top of that, you'll also see five of the other things that you're going for, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I do encourage everyone to take that beginner's course. I like it is $150, but I'm telling you right now, like I've seen people like one guy recently, he took it and that afternoon, he was like, I started doing what you told me. He's like, I made $134 in 5 trades. He's like, I made 5%, 3%, 7%. He's like, had I used more money, I would have made $1,000. And then he did it again like a Monday later and he wrote a whole email and made a video about it. And he's like, dude, in one day, you've like, I learned a strategy. Like, show me how to do something. But he was scientific with it and he was more like a math guy and he listened to everything I said and he did it to the T. Every time he
Mm-hmm.
was up, he moved the stop loss. Like he watched it. He didn't go for too much. Like he aimed for a percentage and he nailed it. Like, and he used some stops and he shorted. And the guy had never really traded in his life. He shorted and long the same day. I was like, and he took the class. He just took the class. Again, he was, I'm not saying he was a high end student. Like, he was of high aptitude. Not every student is as fast as him, but man, like, and we need the volatility and we do need the movement. Like, look, we're still like we've been on the 200 now for another 2 hours. I've been here, right? It's like we went down a little bit, we went up a little bit. Like it's dragging on here. So
From
Sam,
from what I understand, I'm sorry. From what I understand about the Hikanashi thing, though, bro, whoever was asking is, I think it's more used to like cut out the noise and just watch the trend, like because you know how it has one solid like color going up and then it has one solid color when it's going down. So from what I understand from researching it, uh, it's just to cut out the noise of the market and show you the like
But see,
the
like, see my screen right now in
the
Hikanashi,
momentum.
right? Say I'm trading Hikanashi, right? Oh, my system, I would see that flag, probably low stochastics touching the 21. And I'd probably take this flag for a ride, right? Because that's what I do like over and over again. And I might have seen the shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? But I get into
Mm-hmm.
Hikanashi and it's telling me every time it turns red, I might sell right here, man, thinking we're gonna dump. Flip green on me, and then I'm like, what the fuck, you know? So like, I I don't know it well enough that it would easily start throwing me off a couple times pretty fast, you know?
It might be good for reversals, somewhat.
You know, it's like you guys make me want to dabble in it, but I'm just like, you know what? Like, let me get through the bull market, make a bunch of money, and then I'll play with it in the bear market or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'll
Mm-hmm.
do that. It's like too much stress for me to want to learn Hikanashi candles right now. It's like I don't want to do. It's like
Right.
I know I could, like, and I know I could just keep, but it's like, do I want to do that? You know what I mean? Like, and that's another thing. Like, be selective over how over what you're bringing in. You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like for a week, say I really want to get down on Fibonacci and really go over it and practice. Like it's hard, but try to compartmentalize each of the learning that you're doing, you know, and and then ask yourself, what am I weak on? Like, but yeah, I really don't like. There was a time where I stopped making my support and resistance lines like a lot. Like I just started just being like, okay, we got some like, and like something happened to me one day when I saw a really easy trade that I missed. Like it was so simple. Like this is a pretty simple one here. I'm pretty sure we do. Resistance right there. It came back. You just buy there. And that's SR flip. And I remember taking that. It went up. Very simple trade, you know. But I remember when they been like, dude, like you're missing simple stuff because you're stopping the bait, you're not doing the basics anymore. You know, you got two markets
Mm-hmm.
ciphered out. Like you didn't, you know, and I had and many times I've gotten too deep into all these other things like this. Like this was just a flag. All I had to do was play the flag when we got above the 200. My brain started saying, Sam, man, you're overlooking it too much, bro. You need to calm it down. Like, so you know it now. Now you need to really learn. Now you need to use what you see and stop going through the noise, bro. Like my brain started being like, dude, like it's there. Like you know what's gonna happen now. You know, now
Mm-hmm.
let it play out. Like, and then I realized that nothing beat. Like I tried so many different things and nothing beat this 200. Like there was no less stressful way to trade. I mean, I think every one of you, if you go through what I've gone through and you do this for 10 more years, like I feel like you're gonna come back to the 200 and you're gonna be like, he was right. But it's gonna take you 7 years, and that's just what because that's the process of trading. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
and maybe you'll use a 34. You know, you can use when the 34 crosses. I know a guy he likes to use the 9 and the 34. Whatever you constantly use, you'll eventually be good at. You get it? It's more about, I never realized, I thought trading was more about the indicators, but it's more about your mind and what you're, if you feed it the same things over and over again, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like literally, if I honestly, this is a true story. I could take someone who has never traded in their life, right? I could sit them in a room, teach them what the buttons are, not really explain what they're doing totally, and just say, hey, man, press this button when we get above this yellow line. You know, and whenever the number's above like a 10%, hit the sell thing, you know, hit that other red one. And I swear, like, if that person just did this over and over again, like they'd be profitable. They wouldn't have to know anything. Like, and they wouldn't know any of this other nonsense that everybody else knows. And I was like, man. And literally now, like, and it hit me because when they put me on trading wars, uh, and you know, they threw me on ZoomX, and I like to trade on the exchange, you know, and what did I was like, all right. And my mind was like, what do you really need? And my mind's like, I need the Stoke, I need the 200, I need the 21, and I can cook, baby. And I need my patterns and my support and resistance. And I was like, and I can in the VRVP, and I can cook. Like that's all I need. I realized that's all I needed, you know. I use the other things when I need them, but like I need the 21, I need the 200, I need my patterns, and I have VRVP, and I need supported resistance. Sometimes I use none of it. I just use supported resistance. Sometimes I use none of it. I just use the 200. Sometimes I use the flag, the 200, and the VRVP. Sometimes I use the curve on the stochastic. Like, so I've walked into my room before, just drew a quick flag, saw the stochastic curve in, set support resistance 3-1, set it, walked out of the room, came back an hour later, 20 minutes later, trade one, just, also have lost the trade too. It's not always perfect, but nice stop. Got stopped out and didn't get liquidated and got stopped out exactly for what I planned on losing. And I lost exactly what I planned on losing. That's what you can control. In trading, the one thing you can control is what you're going to lose. And people don't control that. It's insane. It's the one thing you have control over, and people throw caution to the wind and do leverage up. It's see the trade is playing out just like it was. If you wanted to swing today, look, it hit this. It's crazy, right? It never lost the 200, and it touched the 21. And I told you, if it touched the 21 and you didn't lose the 200, there's a likelihood you're going to make money, right? This is a new strategy I've been working on because I've now been at the 1 minute so much, and I'll miss the pump, and instead of getting crazy, I'll just calm myself down and tell myself, all right, if you really think this is going to continue and the move looks right, then just calm down until you hit the 21 again. And instead of make sure you hold the 200. And if you hit the 21 and you hold the 200, then you're going to move.
Yeah. I feel like I've been watching you for a while, but that 200 SMMA,
Yep.
when did you start using that? Like, cause I feel like I started seeing that maybe like a couple weeks ago. I don't know, like the 200
I've had it on for
SMMA.
about a year and a half, but I just started mentioning it subtly.
Okay,
I just, once people absorb stuff, I just kind of add a little bit here and there.
yeah.
That's the smooth moving. See, we're having issues at it right now, you see? And I expect that. See, everyone else like, wow, well, we're having issues at the smooth moving average, this purple line here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can also use the 200 EMA. It's not going to be much different. One of my mentors that taught me a lot, a cool strategy he taught me years ago. He tried to teach me this stuff early, but I didn't pick up on it. Now that I'm older, I understand exactly what he was trying to do. See? But let me show you. He had this strategy, and I called it Coinfield way. I believe he told me to use the 1 hour time frame. And he told me to use the 200 SMA and the 200 EMA and the 50 SMA, nothing else. And he told me to wait for the 50 to cross the 200s and to get into a trade. And look at that. Huge move.
Across both.
And he says institutions love this. And he told me never to show anybody. It's like, this is, they'll use random moving averages on random time frames that you're not thinking about and hide their moves in there. But that was, and again, it's not, again, nothing is foolproof of the moving average. And again, also short when the 50 cross below, and then look, you stay short until the 50 can get back above again. It's a good trend. It's kind of a trend work, and there's another one. What do I called trend? What I used to call it. It's called Trend Finder or something, right? I got so many little
super trend
watch here, right? This is the 1,441 weighted moving average, okay? With the SMMA. And honestly, you just use this one line on the 4 hour. Was it on the 4 hour he taught me or the 1 hour? You can really use it on any time frame, but I just noticed whenever you got above this, it was a macro trend. You see? I haven't shown anyone this stuff. This is, and then when we lose it, you're in a macro, so right now, we're in a macro downtrend until we can get above that line. See?
You got a whole
get above
Bible.
this line, we'll be in the clear again. A cool thing about this line, all right, is if we look at it on a bigger time frame, I believe this is the highest it's ever been, you know, which is always like kind of a bullish sign in general for like long moving averages. But again, different people have sat me down and like tutored me and shown me different things. And I've listened here and there. And some things I've implemented and some things I haven't, you know. Right now it's holding as support, you see.
Mm.
It held as support here too. It's technically a bull market band. You know, we don't want to lose that on the 4 hour there. But so another cool thing we used to use was, and this is how we found the bottom. So another cool way to find the bottom was we started using, someone said, "Hey man, have you ever used the 800?" See, what I think is good about what I've learned about successful people and that I've implemented into my life is that when someone tells them something out of the blue, they're willing just to implement it. They don't say, "Oh, I know it all. I don't need that." They're like, "Oh, what were you using? Oh, let me try that." Instead of saying, "Oh, I know it all," it's like, "Oh, you're doing something different. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, cool. Let me see. I'm gonna do that. You know, trying to see if I can find it here." And again, what are these? These are templates. Whenever there's 800 MA, see, so whenever and I think we were using it on the daily time frame, and we noticed, oh no, maybe it was the weekly. No, maybe it was the 3 day? No, the 5 day. No, because we don't even have it. Oh yeah, and I have to use it on the all-time history index, or it won't work. Oh yeah, so I believe we use it on the 5 day chart. No, the 3 day. No, maybe it was the daily. Is it the 8 hour? Yeah, so we found whenever that like the 200 MA crossed the 800, it was the end of the bear market. You see? 200 crossed the 800, end of the bear market on the 8 hour time frame. A guy who's like a military, like he does military reconnaissance, and like I won't say who he is. He's in our group, been in and out for years, and he like would sit and play with weird moving averages, you know, and that's held true too. Look how the 800 and we're bouncing off of it right now too. It's weird, you know. We have some eerily weird support in this area. Bitcoin pumping. And again, the Stokes have now reset, and you haven't lost the 200. You see, or the 21, and now you're flagging out in like an ascending triangle. See, now that gets me kind of like now, like my subconscious mind is saying, "Hey, you won a trade like this many times. You're above the 200. The Stokes are turning." And my mind says, "But it's Thursday night, man. Be easy." 5, 7. Fine. Weren't we about to end the stream? So ridiculous. And that looks like they're gonna squeeze them again, but
Hi, Fred. I was curious. When you do your setups like this and you have your risk reward and you have your red box, are you always looking for a better spot to get into the trade, or do you kind of just accept that we've hit the 21 and you want to get in
if
and
we haven't
that's
hit
your
the
risk?
21, I'm trying to look for a better spot.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm
Okay.
so anal. I want here, and if and there, I feel like I'm chasing,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of just
Yeah.
like, nah. Like if I didn't get there, I can't take it. You know, like I want it down there. Like I was a little late to the flag. You know, when I got, um, I hadn't been watching the screen long enough. You do have to put more work into the 1 minute, right? You do have to kind of when you enter. You know, once it is what it is, right? But when you enter, See, this to me, if I buy this now, I'm buying a breakout. I technically don't buy breakouts. It's not my thing. But like I can feel the momentum. But we could also double top here. I got hesitancy for whatever reason, and it's making, it's pulling me from, it's like stopping me from entering the trade. I do remind myself that daily is supposed to reverse, and this is the sign I was looking for. The bigger time frame looked like we could reverse. I wanted to see the smaller time frames play that game.
The 1 hour is just above the 200 now.
Yeah, look, exactly. And now look how low the Stokes are. Like they've been beaten over and over again, and like the Bears really didn't win. Like they had all day, they had all day. Like I'm gonna enter that trade, but I'll take a little. I don't like the risk at all. I'll do like 99 instead of 33, 132 if I can. I got this like weird. I always keep the confirmation window there too because it gives me that last second to think about the trade. And I can see it turn red right when I did that, right? I was like, I might get a better price. I also know that I'm likely to lose the trade on Thursday night, period. No matter how enticing it looks. I have to remind myself that. Like, sometimes when people are watching me, it makes me want to make the trade. It's kind of like it's like the kid in class. You want to like, do it, Johnny, do it. You're like, he's going to do it. Like, so like sometimes it'll force me to maybe like trade when I know I'm kind of like, if I was alone, no one was seeing me, I might be like, nah, I'm not going to. Just for like the fun of the excitement of like, will we win the trade or not? It's like, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, now that they're above the 200, I'm more optimistic. That's the only like tough thing about when I advance, like my advancement as a trader. I can flip bullish and bearish now like very easily, but like even 2 years ago, like I had to be only one thing. Like it would take me like an hour or two. Like I couldn't just like I couldn't be like, oh, we're above the 200 now, we're more and I could see how it could look like I'm like a flip flopper to a beginner trader because like this guy, he was like here and now he's there, but like it's the markets have showed me that they can turn that fast and that these indications, because too many times I swore we were bearish because I saw all the other time frames and the 1 minute broke the 200 and I missed out on so many gains, and it happened too many times. And I said, man, I'm going to pay attention to the 1 minute now. I'm refused to get burned. I'm just not going to let it happen. And then you have to not live in fear. Like right now I have to just be like, okay, so I lose 99. So what, right? And I hit confirm, make the trade, right? So what? If I lose 99, I lose 99. It is what it is, right? I am above the 200, right? There's a good chance things could go in my favor. I hesitated. Remember, I waited for that red candle a little bit. So in answer to your question, I do wait, I guess, right? And I do try to find the best time, the best place. And honestly, I never know when I truly get in until I truly get in. Like this, that's right. We all, that's all of us, right? Until you find like it's just this. You sit with it, and then you finally you peel that Band-Aid off and you make the move, right? And it is what it is. And now you're in. Now you got to deal with it. Now you got to deal with the action you made and make sure you're okay. And I've had this whole thing thought out. I'm not going to make any crazy emotional decisions here. Like, I'm going to lose 99.
Sam, what does it mean when the 21 crosses above the 200?
What did you say? What is it named?
What does it mean when the 21 crosses above the 200?
Well, like if you just go back to what I taught you, right? For the last few hours, I just showed you whenever moving averages get tight, something happens. And tight moving average is really just a shorter moving average. When I mean shorter, I mean like 50 days is shorter than 100 days, right? So because you can't, like, they're both the same length on the screen, right? But they're shorter in their calculation method, all right? So when the 50 crosses the 200, right? So anytime a shorter moving averages crosses a longer one, it tells you that price action is likely pulling. There's bullish momentum there because a lower moving average cannot cross a higher moving average unless price is pulling it, right? So when you see that the 21 is about to cross the 200, you can front run that, and it's likely, you know. And look, like again, I like to use Tesla or a different stock for this stuff so you can see what I'm saying. Amazing, because we got it here on the daily, but the 21 was front running before Tesla had this big pump. This is great because this is exactly what you asked about, and we get a perfect example. But like here, I would have seen already from what I know. Remember tight moving averages, the 200 above, we pump up to it. I talked about that earlier, how we went through all those altcoins throughout the bear market. And I made a whole list of coins that were low. And that was how we made gains. I just knew, like I just found 20, 30 of them, and we didn't hit them all, but we hit a good 10, 70% of them. Bang, bang, bang. And every couple of days, I'd be like, we did it again. Another one to the 200, another one to the 200. And I would just keep like, and that's kind of when I really started understanding, like the 200 beat me down, everyone. Like it showed me that it was stronger than everything else. I traded everything else, and then eventually the 200. And look, you even see this shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder, inverted head and shoulder. And then if you get above the 200, you're going to rip, right? And then you let it play out like a day or two, and you see, oh, wow, that 21 looks like it's going to come across that 200. Like it's curving up, right? And then lo and behold, it does. Now, when it does happen, you can dump when it happens. That's the only problem. Like these indications, you have to front run them. You have to see them for what they're going to be. You don't do them because once this happens, you're up here. So you don't trade, you don't buy crosses, right? Smaller time frames a little different because it's so small and quick, right? So like you can, but even there, I try to front run one of those crosses if I can, right? Unless like now I was waiting for price. I really wanted it to cross and for price action to come to it because I wanted price action to stay above the 200, right? I'm trying to see an area where this happened here. Like, here's kind of a good one. Like you pumped up hard and then price action was away from the 21. So we knew the price action would have to come back to the 21. But we knew that if we lost the 200, so here I'd be like, all right, I'm watching Tesla on the daily. This is what I just showed you on the 1 minute on Bitcoin. It's the same thing. And I want to see this touch the 21 and pump before it loses the 200. If it does that, and I'd like to see the Stokes at least curve sideways, or come low. If I can get the low curve on the stochastics, I can touch the 21 and keep the 200. Man, there's such a high probability I'm going to win that trade. And boom, it happens exactly kind of like it's supposed to, like clockwork. Then you get the golden cross on top of that. That's when the 50 crosses the 200, right? So you're just like, so once you're in the trade, then you see, oh, wow, the golden cross is coming. I'm going to stay in the trade. And then again, what happens? The 200 gets away from the 21. Price action starts to falter. The price action gets away from the 21. And eventually the whole thing comes crashing down when the moving averages get too far apart from each other. Look, the 200 and the 21 they're just exorbitantly too far. And you likely get a bearish divergence when this happens. So I think that thoroughly answers like what it means when the 21 crosses the 200, right? It's just like right there. Look, right there, you knew it was about to happen. And honestly, lately I've been using almost the 21 and the 200 more than the 50 and the 200 because it's a quicker signal because the 21 is shorter. It happens before the 50. So while the whole world's waiting for a golden cross, I've already played the 21 cross and the 200. I'm already in before the golden cross. I understood that these were latent signals, so I speed them up by front running them. And they play out pretty well. Like by the time they curve, they're probably pretty spot on. They're going to cross. Not every time though, Look at that nasty dump. See? $13. Like, see, I would have been down 26. I put like, or even less in the trade. I didn't. And if we lose the 200, that's a wrap. Right? And look, that's a liquidity grab because there's no one out here today. And a bunch of people traded this and they put their stop loss right there. And they're just like, all right, we'll go get you now, you 100x people that decided to trade this flag, right? That's why tonight, like, I just feel like I'm kind of like 16. I'm just like, I don't have the passion for it tonight. I'll be honest, I just don't, Some nights you want to go to bed, You don't care. I'm being honest. Like, your 7-day a week hustle, like, there's going to be some nights where you're just going to be like, you know what, let it. Because I'm the lifer, I want to wake up every day and say, I did it again, and like you try to like chase your freaking tail. And like at one point, I like to show up and just be like, hey, everyone, I'm a person. And I went to bed last night. I didn't trade a damn thing. You know, and everyone's like, it's like, yeah, well, you know, and watch this pump huge, and I never got stopped out. And everyone like, wow, man, he closed that trade and he would have made $100. Maybe I should have. Like, that's how you know, like, I'm not in the best trading mindset too. Like going through the ear thing. I got to put these eardrops in my ear again and later. It's just the ear thing really got in my head. I'll be honest. Like, I suggest if you have ear problems, don't trade because it's like it throws off your balance and your concentration. It's really weird. Anyway,
Yeah, Sam,
yeah,
I was gonna ask too. Um, why don't I see that nobody ever talks about this either. I guess I mean I never see I use it either. Like trailing stop losses. I was looking that up on Mexi and videos about it. So
yeah,
why don't you already use that? Like you see how you say you don't want like when you trade when you go to sleep.
yeah,
Sometimes you might
yeah.
be in a good trade. You wake up and then you're not
Honestly,
even in the
because
dumps again.
trading stop losses are good, and if I was a heavy leverage trader and it was my whole life, I probably use them a lot more. You know what I mean? And I probably should
Mhm.
implement them more than I do. When I've set them up a few times, I've concentrated on them, got them ready, and I have to put a little more effort and a little more time into them, to be honest, a little more concentration because I want to think about how I want to trail it, what my percentages are, and it's not always perfect either. Um, and when it comes to me, I like to just I don't know. I found my cookie. I found my sweet spot. I'm open minded to believe that adding some trailing stop could help, and I do add trailing stops on another program. See, you have to understand. I have another program that did it better and efficiently, but it doesn't API to this. So I think that's another reason I got like pissed because I know how to do it perfectly, and I know exactly how I want to have it set up, and I can't do it that way. Really, like on this futures account. So, but I have on my all trading account, the guy programmed and a bot for me basically. It's basically a trailing stop bot. And what it does is and I have videos on this of how to set it up. And that's why I really like alt trading when we start swinging alts again. But what it'll do is you'll set, what I like to do is I set 2 take profits, right? So I'll get into the trade and I'll have I'll sell here and sell here. And I'll usually split this between 60 and 40. Right. You guys aren't seeing a lot of my strategy recently because I can't use them because I don't use them until altcoins get crazy. You know what I mean? So it's like I can't show you all my surfing skills if the waves aren't crashing. I can't cowabunga. Like I'm doing what we do right now until the market gets better. Right. Um, and I know how to get through these times. I've been through them many times. I can survive. Like if you stick with us in our school, you'll see, like you'll make it through. But yeah, and what happens is when the price gets here, it moves my stop loss to break even immediately for me, right? And then when the price gets here, it moves it to a trailing stop loss. And then if it just keeps going, it just keeps going until it turns, and then I'd get out. And I love it. And so I do implement trailing stop losses. I haven't really used them enough on MEXC because I haven't taken my time to really like sit with them and make them happen. You know what I mean? But it's a good point, man. And it's something I do use a lot when it comes to swing trading altcoins when it gets really crazy because what happens is a lot of these coins rip hard, right? And there's no way you'll be able to get that. But if you fall asleep, like you said, and you'll wake up pleasantly surprised that you let that trailing stop run and you got a lot more out of the market than you thought, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like I'm only been leverage trading since last March, like heavily. I'm not the greatest leverage trader. I made a few million without touching leverage. That's my true story. So like once you do that, like it's really hard to convince someone to go start leverage trading. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
here's 2 mil, go leverage trade. I'll give you 2 mil. Are you gonna go leverage trade tomorrow?
Nah,
Nah, right? Right? I'm just being honest.
you
Like,
can
are
make
you
you can make way more money spot just buying and
100%?
holding.
You can swing 100K and make 10 grand a day, like with way less pressure. It feels so much nicer. You don't have to borrow anyone's money. You don't have to watch X's, and you don't have to like sit there like, oh, like, and just that's not the life I truly want to live. But I use leverage trading to take it, I've used it for what I like to use it for, right? Which is to just add the spot bags. And honestly, I find it entertaining. Like to make $500 a day is like my goal. You know, $300 to $500 a day is my goal. And like, I find that keeps me going. It can be difficult. It can be fun. And sometimes, like say, look, some trades we hit 1,000, some trades we hit 500, some trades I hit 100, you know. In the last 2 weeks, you've seen me hit anywhere between like a 1,200 to a 400 to, you know, but mostly about 150. You'll see me taking 160, 150, you know, $200 profits like over time. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And every time it's like, oh, I'm telling you right now, like the second you deviate from your system, every once in a while, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go 3 for 900 or I'm going to go 5 for 15, you know, but I got to be right. And I did it the other night and I nailed it. But like, it could have been the one that buried me too. Like, you know, so it's like, I find I grow the account when I stay consistent, you know, the
That was
second
my
I
biggest. That was my
deviate,
biggest
you
problem.
usually have to get back to square one again. And then I'm just like, and it's a constant process. It's never easy, you know. You're as good as your last couple weeks, man, you know, and you got to just adjust from there. It's so insane, but that's trading, you know. Anyone else? I'm going to wrap it up. 11:11 on 7:11, 11:11.
Yeah, Sam, I just wanted to say I appreciate you, man. I love being a part of this community. You've changed my life, brother, and I'm so forever grateful for you, and God bless you, brother.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. Appreciate you, Sean. God bless you. Thank you. If I could change one person's life a day or a week, I feel like I did something, you know. So, all right, everyone. God bless you all. Don't make me cry. I'll see you all tomorrow.
All
And
right.
thank you so much, everyone. Larry, man, you did a really good job. I love the questions. I see your passion, man. I'm gonna be looking out for you
Man.
in the group, dude. Keep posting your charts.
Yeah, I'm in the group. I'm Legal Money in the group. You
Okay.
probably remember me.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I like
you
your
see
vibe.
me.
Keep going, man. You got it. You're seeing the intricate little things that other people aren't paying attention to, and you're focusing. So you've got that down. You just need to keep pursuing. You'll get there, man. You have a lot more than others, I can already tell. So you're on your way, dude.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that, man. You have a good night, bro.
You too, man. Don't give up.
Good night, Sam.
God bless everybody.